So this was pitch drop experiment. People had some opinions on this one. So really, in general, the responses have been positive, just because this player base is nuts and sees a puzzle like this and goes, "Oh yeah, this is my jam." But yeah, there have definitely been some opinions. I think that, yeah, that was Yosh saying what the shit was this puzzle actually. Although the most outspoken puzzle disliker has been Shadow Cluster, obviously. Yeah. There's also one other person who described a pretty good algorithm and then says somebody else can do that.
Alright, can you hear me now? Hopefully that's better. Is there static in the background? Do I need to turn on voice filtering? I don't know if the yes, oh, there's static. Alright, let me do that. Filters. I haven't used this one in a while. Noise suppression. Okay. Alright, is that better? Is that a gun? Hell yeah. I am a professional OBS user. Yes, yes. Alright, let me make sure everything's correct. No, it is not. I have not copied any
Okay,
solutions.
for those who are tuning in but haven't actually done the puzzle, I should probably explain it. Um, this looks like a simple production puzzle, but the idea is loosely how slowly can you solve it. More specifically, how many tape loops does it take on average for your solution to output? We have this concept called fractional p, where you don't necessarily need to make one output every tape loop. Sometimes you can make a machine that just is in a different condition when it gets to the end of its tape loop, and when it does its tape loop again, it does something different. The idea behind this puzzle is to do as much of that as you can.
And one of the easiest ways
This
to do
puzzle
that
was a
is, like for example, you can just, do that. No, don't reset. Do that. And take 6 to, actually, go back to the original position. Where did it crash? Oh, yeah, I have that on, I suppose.
this
Ah, we
puzzle
can do
was
it.
originally submitted to the weeklies in March of 2023, I think, and
Damn,
it
it's that
came
old.
back this year to my surprise.
Yeah, and just like that, you have a score of 1/6. Because I think it's 1/6. Yeah, it's 1/6. Because you grab it every 6th tape loop. So yeah, this is so there are a lot of methods to extend the amount of tape loops it takes per product, and we will be seeing a lot of those. Why is an extra earth reagent? No, for convenience purposes for doing a setup. I mean, not just the extra earth reagent, we have also scaffolding mod. Now if that ain't ominous. Scaffolding mod is great. You can just drag an atom out and there's only going to be one of them. It's like the one-time input. It's great. Especially for this puzzle. Modding community shout out. Let's go. What? And Earth reagent is for similar reasons. Especially for this puzzle. There are two groups of this puzzle. One on the end that's like yes, this is a normal puzzle with that where you can make reasonable numbers, and the other half is like we're not finishing these simulations. Ever.
This puzzle has been described as the better you are at the game, the worse it is.
That comes from Biggie.
Yes, and I'm kind of comfortable with that description because when I made this puzzle, as I've said, I just wanted to see what would happen. And some things have happened.
Watch the chaos ensue. I should probably mention in the Discord chat that go type in my Twitch chat. I'll be reading it. Is there scaffolding? I mean, you can make triptychs. I suppose. I don't know. For most of those, I just But anyways, I'm gonna post the Twitch chat link into this tiny little Discord stage thingy as well, so go chat here. It's more convenient for me to see everything at the same time. 1, 2, 3, 4, A, B, C, D, CBA 4, 3, 2, 1 says, I really wish I cared enough to finish a high effort solution. Didn't you end up submitting? Slap drill. Alright. Alright. Let me check that everything has been set up properly. Alright. Gotta open my overlays and whatnot. This is a complicated week. I had to do so much back-end stuff. Somebody found the oh, hi baby. Somebody found the redeems. I haven't turned them on, huh? I should do that. By the way, if you want to just if you want to join in and talk, just tell me in the Twitch chat. And if you don't want to use your voice, you can always just type in the Twitch chat or just use the BistBot feature. I have a text-to-speech thingy. Because we have channel points now. Hopefully there's not going to be any ads running. So yeah, that's a thing. Spay. Oh no, don't spay the bot. Not that I think the bot needs spaying, but Alright, so we should be good to go. After the pets finish. So yeah, that's just gonna happen. Don't redeem it too much, please. You can talk through the bot if you want to speak though, and let me know. Alright, we should be good to begin. And we'll be starting with a good old One Piece solve. Also, if y'all haven't seen the layout the streaming layout I've been coming up with, there we go. 1P, period 7, 95 cost.
Yes, let's not get distracted.
Yes, yes. Alright, did I do it right? It solves a puzzle.
Never gonna give
does
you up,
that.
never gonna let you down, never gonna run around and desert you.
Maybe I should turn that off or increase the cost. But yeah.
This is our starting point for making solutions to this puzzle. How many tape loops does it take to solve it? The immediate first answer is 1, and you can just build it like this.
Oh yeah, nobody made a 6p solution. That would have been funny.
Yeah.
Not min-I.
Like the
I
game,
think there's gonna be min-I, so don't worry about it.
the game teaches you to solve puzzles like this. So
Yeah,
this
most
is
of the time you're intended to make one solution, one product per tape loop. But for this week, we've challenged you to try to make a, less than that. Yeah, you can make it 6p easily by doing this. Tampering. There's gonna be a lot of that this stream. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Minus instruction instead of plus. Are we sure this isn't Zorflax submitting the race war of Opus Magnum? So yeah, this is a basic solution that it solves the puzzle. That's all you need to submit. Actually, to be honest, you don't even need to solve the puzzle to submit because we turned that off, but we will check, to make sure it finishes at least, submitting and runs forever. For the most part. OMSIB is good, but it has its flaws.
Free Alliance may be in 42nd place, but he probably had more fun with this puzzle than most.
Mm-hmm. We started in 42nd. There's a lot of submitters this week, and just one metric, so everybody focused on their one metric. I'm curious how y'all predict how fast this solution is gonna, the metrics are gonna drop. 42 submissions, yeah. Opus Magnum, where 6 is approximately equal to infinity. Exactly. What the hardest to verify solution will be? I don't remember, I shall see. One over 6 is approximate to 0. Yeah. Anyways, we're not going to use decimal in the overlay. Well, next up we still have in 41st place at also at a metric of 1 with a period of 5 instead of 7. A shorter period, 5381.
Yeah,
Did
the
I advance it?
secondary is intended to. The secondary is intended to encourage low periods. We will see how successful that encouragement was.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, and then the notes, 5381 says that too hard, gave up.
Respectable.
It's a solve, alright. I wonder what 5381 was trying to achieve, because this feels like just a submission to get a submission in. Yeah. Also, 5381 says they'll eat a tissue for every solution that placed worse than them. So,
Get cracking on that tissue.
I mean, Byarm isn't even doubling the metric. It's well, I guess it is. But you could just make the period shorter, do this instead, and it's already better in terms of metric. 1 tissue. Oh yeah, solution names are nice because they show up on stream. Is this IG? Oh, IG, I suppose. GI, on the other hand, I don't think you need duplication for that, do you? One does not simply ignore the main potential. Yes, very true. Bonder, unbonder, and wasteball purgatory. Alright. Anyways, don't want to tamper this too much. Moving on then, we finally drop below 1. Into 40th place, we have at 1/6p, at a period of 4, 7T Storm. So yeah, 1 is the baseline for this puzzle, for the metric. Yeah, here we can see the 1/6 in action in terms of arm 1. So you can see that arm 1 grabs the input every 6 tape loops, so it has a metric of 1/6. Did they think it was? I don't know.
1/6 is an extremely natural fractional p for situations like this.
Yeah.
It's because the game is about hexagons.
I don't know if she thought that the product and input and output have to be in different chambers, but it seemed they were kind of confused about the metric. Maybe they were thinking, maybe she was thinking that it was needed to be like the latency of each of the products, because the website was a bit worded a bit weirdly in the beginning, and period over rate is a hard, like, just period over rate, like the official metric that we're going by, is a hard metric to parse in your head. You have to think about what's period, what's rate, how they relate to each other. It essentially translates to the amount of tape loops it takes between each of the outputs on average.
I had to talk the Weeklies team out of doing period squared over rate, with my justification being I want the metric to make at least a little bit of sense.
Honestly, period square over rate would be nice. I mean, we're still gonna get the wacky solutions later on, but it's definitely confusing. We'll see. We'll get to those solutions. Yeah, period square over R would be neat, but that's not going to stop thousands of period anyway. It's also hard to, balance. Or you just have to be able to make more out of your period. Maximize tape loops per product. Yeah, the thing about maximize tape loops per product is that you don't know if that means like the amount of time it takes from the start for the input to get to the output, or is it like the max amount of tape loops between each product? Yeah, next one then. We'll be here for a while, y'all. Next up, in 39th place. Oh yeah, wait, notes, right. It's been a while since I've been a host. Note, 17 Storm says, is period min 3 possible? Probably not. Period min 3. Well, I mean, we've already seen solutions that do that.
We have not. We've seen tinkering that do that.
Yeah, true. We've seen me do it. Maybe they did think that it needed to be in isolation mode then. Alright, next up. In 39th place we're taking a drop already to 1/20 at a period of 3, we have Dr. Enigma. A new submitter, welcome to the Weeklies. So yeah, this is another way to pad out the amount of time it takes between each input pool. A long ass track.
This community, in general, seems to really not like the track feature of Opus Magnum.
How
but
so?
It's great. It lets you do stuff like this.
Yeah, just like naturally it becomes it just takes 20 tape loops for arm 1 to go back and then grab that molecule. Also, this is a real period 3 solution. Naturally occurring period 3. Yeah.
So the more track you can put in chamber, the higher your fractional p. Easy peasy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So then we see, I gotta read the notes first though. So for the notes, Dr. Enigma says, I finally decided to join in on the weeklies after years of my brother pestering me to do so. And this is the metric. I wonder who Dr. Enigma's brother is. Talk about some... this is the metric I get to start with? Talk about some odd luck. Anyways, I'm not real confident in this solve. I feel like I'm missing something that would make it all click, but I can't for the life of me figure out what it would be. Yeah, who is the family here? That makes it sound like The brother of Dr. Enigma is somebody that submits often. Cough, cough, Mr. Puzzle. Is it your brother, Mr. Puzzle?
So this is your first round
Indeed it
on the
is.
weeklies. You see this stupid puzzle, and you decide to submit anyway. What a legend!
Yeah, well, I mean, the puzzle is nice. The metric? Oh boy. Don't worry, we have somewhat more normal metrics next week. I think. I don't know. Thanks for the pets. Alright. Moving on then. We have in 38th place at 1 tape loop longer, we have Yash at 1/21, and also a period 3. It's gonna be there's a common theme between these period 3 solves. It says just a one large track. Professor
If you
Riddle's
make your track
brother.
longer, make your metric better.
Uh-huh. So yeah, 1/21. And the notes say average free space I record solve. Yeah, it's also the instructions record. There we go. Alright, Madmaster. See you then.
Bury the
In
light deep with if I
non-production
find,
puzzles,
cast aside.
minimizing
There's no
instructions, this
coming
is what all the
home.
solutions
We're
look
burning
like. Usually
chaos
with
in
the
the
hex
Wi-Fi
arm, but this is
bind,
the vibe.
drifting in the ocean all 001.
I think I have to turn off this spot if this goes on.
I mean, this spot is only covering the draggable instruction tray parts, so that the one spot on the screen where it
Oh
doesn't get in
no,
the way
no,
of
she
anything.
speaks.
Oh, I have the stream muted because I'm talking. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't abuse it too much, y'all. It's for like if you want to like notify me without pings. Alright. Next up, we have at well, 2 period longer in 37th place at 1/23. And also not 2 tape loops longer at period 3 we have Alex. Did you know you can squeeze more track into the box?
if you make the track longer, your metric gets better.
Just move a conduit.
Yeah, there's some dead space there's some dead space that you have to have just because like the arms gripper
Yeah.
takes up space, so you can't put the track flush with in this solve the left edge of the screen.
Yeah.
There are these conduits that are there, so you just put them in places where you can't reach, and you can use the rest for track.
Mm-hmm. We're actually seeing these solves like finish solving. That's a treat that we won't be enjoying for most of the rest of the stream. And also the also the intermediary output product has to take up space as well.
Okay, I am seeing 2 unused hexes. Can we get a longer track?
Can we get 25? Actually, we do have 25, but I think that solves them beaten. No, we're dropping straight to 30. Next up, then we have solve.
Okay.
Oh yeah, there's no notes on the previous solve. So next up, we have a solve at 1/30 in 36th place at a period of 4 by Einzelar. That also sounds like a new name. Clockmaker's Delirium. So here is when we can start introducing LCM issues, where arm 1 rotates on a loop of every 6, and the track is on a loop of every 5. So it'll have to line up to like every 30 in order for in order for it to output. How many cycles per second is that? I don't know.
Yeah.
You're saying?
This is how you can get around the not having enough space for more track issue.
Yeah,
We
by
will be seeing
doing
more of this.
by doing multiplication. You can try to delay it for as long. You can try to delay it for longer. Yeah, I mean, it also depends on how fast your PC is, the elephant mode. Does it try to run as fast as possible? I don't know. I don't know the code behind it. Or does it just, like, increase it by a super large number? And maybe sometimes that's capped by your processor speed.
I can't really use elephant mode because, like, it does simulate quickly, but Opus Magnum then gets very unresponsive.
Yeah, Mr. Puzzle says elephant mode tries to go like 1,000 times, like 1,000 times faster. LCM plus multiplier. But yeah, so Islar says in their notes, made 20 minutes after my submission in a haze of exhaustion. This was, indeed, far worse than the original concept. By the way, when any of your solves come up, if you do want to come talk in the chat, just let me know in the Twitch chat.
No, this does beat 6 other solutions, so it's got that going for it.
Go back to the right setup. Alright. Elephant mode is only times 100? It doesn't feel like that slow. Interesting. Alright, next up, in 35th place, we have 1 over 36. Interesting. By Bread at period 4. Also new submitters. Welcome all the new submitters. Hopefully we don't scare you away with this puzzle.
I mean, we had 42 submitters, so I guess we didn't.
Well, I mean, like, scare them away after this week, after the stream. Oh, hi, Luna seems to recognize Bread. I'm confused how this does 1 over 36. There's notes. Let's read the notes. Finding such a curious experiment in the hall was intriguing, so much that I decided to attempt defeating the university's mockery of a solution. Yet, as I worked, my inexperience with a real transmutation engine, let alone in a production cabinet, hampered my efforts. Alas, I did create something to achieve my goal. It did not satisfy my visions of this problem. I cannot see myself reaching those lofty prospects. Maybe one day, with a more formal education, I shall be capable of attaining more. Can't dilly-dally writing this anymore. Need to get the production cabinet back before it's noticed. IFS. There's the notes. It doesn't explain how the solution works, but, you know, they're nice.
So
seems to be
that's where that cabinet went.
It seems to be disposing of things. So it's ARM 1 makes it ARM 1 divides it by calculator time. This is what the rest of the stream is going to be like, with me and a calculator pulled up. Alright, so it's 1 over 36, right? Yeah, so the input ARM 1 already does 6 of that. Where does the rest of the 6 come from? ARM 1 pulls an input up.
So, ARM 1's...
Oh, right, because of
spins
suppression,
around
it's every 12. And every 3 is due to disposing every atom but 1. Before the solution is created. I see. Yeah, that makes sense.
Multiply all that together, you get 1 over 36.
Yeah. A common theme we will be also seeing is just using 1 atom per input, because, you know, there's a disposal. So you get to, by doing that, you get to, like, multiply your solution by 3, almost for free. Oh, I guess it takes up space, but, you know. That's one way to do it.
Unfortunately, there's a glyph of disposal. Yes.
Unfortunately, there's a glyph of disposal. I don't need look, we're gonna need a calculator with the upcoming ones. Might as well have it pulled up already. Imagine this puzzle without disposal. I mean, there's several crazy solutions that don't have disposal that we'll be seeing. They're pretty nice as well. Yeah. Alright. Next up, in 34th place, at 1 over 51, with a period of 4, we have Jamu, which is going by the name Jamoo this time. Zorblax. Unfortunately, Zorblax isn't your host. Also, hi Nomi. So, 51. Arm 1 is doing
If you
interesting.
make the track longer,
That's a
get a
17
better
track,
metric.
isn't it? Yeah,
Yeah.
51
So
is 3 times
this
17.
this is combining the multiplication strategy with the just have a really long track lull strategy,
Yeah.
and yeah, bumps you up a few placements.
So it's a LCM of 17 multiplied by 3. 3 is done by arm 1 and 17 is done by arm 2. Arm 2, I assume, is on a 17 track. So, and it can only grab,
I
yeah,
don't see
there
any
it is,
other
it just
tracks that
grabbed it.
grab them.
Yeah, so it can only grab it at one point, and like both of the arms need to align in order for it to not be, in order for the input not to be reset back to its original position. Serious Sentinel says this is my exact first solution. What do you submit by? I'm curious. Everybody's Twitch name is different from their submission name. It's confusing. Silverbyte. All right. 17 by 3. And in the notes it says, I'm going to rip my intestines out to Mauer Halo by 3.99. 3.99, not 3.99. Free.
Oh,
all right.
Don't do that.
The soft solves. Let's go. Why don't people just use the same name for everything? I know, right? I'm OMG, it's Abyss like everywhere. Put the Twitch name on the website. Yeah, maybe. That's probably more useful, actually. Instead of the Discord and the email and whatnot, Twitch name sounds useful. No, I mean Discord is also useful. Maybe the email is less useful. I don't think I've ever contacted someone through the email. Alright, next up we have in 33rd place, at 1 over 66, by normal existing, at a period of 4. That sounds like 22 and 3. No, it's 11 and 6. That's what arm 1 is doing, it's 11 and 6.
Oh wow, we got a track dodge.
So yeah, there's only one position and one rotation where arm 1 is able to grab it.
Yeah, in the previous just make the track longer solutions, the track has been out of the way. Here, the track is valuable space to maneuver in, and the reagent is passed through a whole field of track. That's neat.
Yeah. Get to use. There's gonna be a lot more solutions that's similar to this one, where it's a long track with arm on a period of 6 rotating around it, because it's free. It's almost a free multiplier of 6. The disadvantage of it though is that your track cannot be flush with the edge of the chamber borders, or it's gonna crash into it. We have Pat Biggie's first solution of 1 over 63. I wonder what that is. Oh, wait, I know. 63 is an awfully specific number. We shall see. Alright. Well, I mean, these solves are just gonna get, like, smaller by orders of magnitude, honestly. What are your predictions on, like, how low it goes? We're in 33rd place now at 1 over 66p. But alright, no notes for this solution. Next up, we have in 32nd place and 1 over 78p, and a period of 8, we have Fennel, which I think is also new to the weeklies. There's a moth flying around in my room. Huh. Somehow it appeared over there. Alright. So 1 over 78. How does that happen? Fennel has submitted before. I mean, the first line in their note says, "This is my first entry into an Opus Magnum event, but I've been following along since the 2023 weeklies." So.
It appears there's a multiplier of 13 from the track being long, and I don't know where the remaining 8
Well, I mean,
multiplier comes from.
y'all can look at the solution while I
we
read the
will
notes,
see.
because the notes explains it.
Oh, undo that.
The idea of this solve is to have arm 2 rotate and move once per loop, causing its position on the track to repeat every 13 loops while its angle repeats every 16 loops. Since 16 and 3 are coprime and only one of the combinations has access to the input, this results in grabbing only once every 78 loops. It's a 16 by 3.
All right.
No, not 16
The
by
rest
3.
of that is
13 by 6. I can numbers.
yeah, and the rest of it is just actually doing the transmutational.
Yeah, with a whole lot of arms. Alright, and this is the best possible primary score with this strategy. The outer rings of hexes can't be used for the track loop since arm 2 would leave the chamber, so only the 19 inner hexes remain, one of which must be covered by the input due to its shape, and 2 of which must be skipped because they would give additional access to the input, which leaves only 16 hexes. But the next coprime of 6 after 13 is 17. I can think of 2 ways to improve this score: input suppression and disposal. Valley says they managed to make it a 17. Some of you don't have factor synesthesia from dive. The 19 is possible, who knows?
Been like 15 or 20 years since I did number theory.
Alright, and we're not going to let it finish solving. Don't see how 19 is possible? We shall see. If it's, you know, a submission that it's still scoring. So, in 31st place, we go almost 2 times slower to a grape jelly singularity at 1 over 150 with a period of 10. Seems we skipped all of the similar solves and we're moving on. I have no idea. This looks confusing. It's using a register stick. Alright. And when the register stick is long enough, it just, you know, pushes it along. And disposes of everything else. And repeats that for a number of times.
So it looks like with the register stick situation, it gets 1 atom to use every...
Yeah. So it's doing multiplication another way, and the good thing about it is that it doesn't have to be coprimes.
Yeah.
You can just multiply a 6 and a 5 and a 5. Yeah, that makes 150, alright?
Oh, it's got 2 register sticks, apparently.
Yeah. Alright, this got... Grape Jelly Singularity has notes. My approach to this puzzle was to find more than one conditional process that takes multiple loops to complete, and chain them together for that sweet, sweet multiplicative power. This machine should be 6 times 5 times 5. Arm 1 pulls a reagent every 6 loops, and the center of each chamber discards 4 out of 5 atoms. I could have made the stick 6 long instead of 5, but if you do that, then you get all the same atom out of the end, and that made constructing the output much more difficult. I wanted to make arm 1 even slower, but it's causing so many problems as it is. Like, half of what arm 2 does is just fix arm 1 screw-ups, and I couldn't find a way to fit it in. Actually, no, after submitting this, I realized you could probably do something processing multiple sticks of length 2, but it's too late for me. Multiple sticks of length 2. So 2 times 2 times 2 times... I mean, if this is simulated, it's 1 over 150. 1/6 input. It looks like you need a final stick 3 times the output. I haven't been looking at the solution, I've been reading the notes. The input is every 6, right? Should be. It uses all
I
of
was
the atoms.
workshopping fitting 3 sticks of length
right.
2 in the first chamber instead of 1 stick of length 5.
Yeah, this is how you use Bitspot. Workshopping fit 3 sticks of length 2. That makes it 8, huh? Yeah. The power of binary.
Yeah. Lots of machinery and pistons and glyphs take up space.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, so at some point, just using a longer stick seems to make sense, unless you can like find a way around that somehow.
Alright then. Next up, we have add only 6 tape loops slower than this at 1 over 156.
Introducing the hexadecimal number, starring letters from A through F.
We have Mr. Royal Spade and a period of 5. We're still having the slow periods. Oh, we're back to this. 156.
If you make the track longer.
So I assume that track is 6. And it's 13. And because it takes 2 loops in order to actually advance the input properly off of it, so that's 13 times 2 times 3 times 6. Yeah. Is it 13? Let me count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, it's 13. My sight guesstimation isn't that far off. So eventually it's going to pivot into the right position.
Do you have notes for this one? Spade is
Yeah.
usually good at notes.
Alright, let me drink some water. I might need to have a water break because of the amount of speaking I'm doing. Alright, Mr. Royal Spade says, "This is one of the most interesting puzzle metrics I've ever seen. Unfortunately, work and life stuff only gave me a few hours to devote to this puzzle. I messed around with wanting to try to extend the time the reagent spends on top of the input, but I couldn't get it to work. I feel like in theory, 2 distinct arms needing to line up could be really interesting, but I didn't bother messing around with it. I'm excited to see what people with more time or experience manage to come up with." That explains slow running speedrun. Trying to make a solve go as slow as possible in the least amount of time as possible. Well, not as possible, but yeah.
You banged out 1 out of 156p in just a couple of hours. That is good intuition.
It works. New speed solving. Oh yeah, imagine if you're only giving like, I don't know, an hour or 2 to get it as low as possible instead of a whole week. That sounds interesting for a speed solve puzzle actually. Alrighty, anyways, we're not gonna finish. We're gonna watch this output go, and then we're gonna move on. Alright. Next up, we have, in 29th place, at 1 over 210, with a period of 23. I think that's the longest period so far. We have David Tryphon, a new submitter, I believe. They've been talking quite a bit, though. Yeah, this is the desync arms strat. I wonder why the period is so long, though. I guess arm 7 does the resetting. So all the arms will have to line up in order for it to output properly. And if they don't line up and move it all the way to the end, arm 7 is going to say, you're going right back to the input. That's how this one
looks
works.
like the arm. It kind of looks like the arms themselves are doing the resetting. It's just that their instruction tapes are set up such that
yeah.
none of them get to do their resetting if they're all lined up properly.
Yeah, I wonder if this actually manages to use the pivot glitch. I haven't checked for that.
There is no pivot glitch anymore.
Well, I mean, I'm on the version that it does. I don't know what OMSIM does. Maybe it ignores it. Which I suppose then that it's what ARM 7 does is once all of 3 of them manage to pivot it in sequence, we will get an output via ARM 7 just delivering everything out. Yeah, they get reset.
Yeah.
We can finally increase the speed and hopefully see one of these outputs. So what of our 210?
Also, we've got the classic one chamber does the logic and the other chamber does the actual transmutation.
Yeah, it does the actual assembly.
Because this isn't just a computation puzzle. You have to like also make an output.
Just count to 210. Good idea. I don't know, it's gonna take about 10,000, I think.
Yeah, so we saw 2 arms line up there.
Oh, not that much.
So the 2 arms pivoted the input clockwise twice. So I think if all 3 line up, you'll get 3 clockwise pivots, which puts an atom in a place where the piston can grab it, and then the actual transmutation happens.
I mean, I could just move the arms into place, but oh, there it goes. There's one. Let's see if I can move the arms into place. Let's do a little tinkering as a treat. So that goes first. And then this goes. And then this goes. Yeah, and then there goes the output. We start with the output case since, you know, it's this is calculated through rate, so they can just output it immediately. You can slow it down, yeah. Pivot, pivot, pivot. And then it outputs. It has the right things. And then they go out of sync and they repeat it after 210 loops. Maximize screen time. There's going to be a lot of LCM stuff. It's going to be harder and harder to figure out how they line up. Some of the submissions are nice enough to give us the initialization, but alright. Notes. I gotta read the notes. I'll let it keep running then. Alright. This is my first submission to a competition. This works by only removing an input once every 210 tapes. This is accomplished by 3 arms that all have to pivot the input 3 times on the same tape iteration in order for a 4th arm to grab the input and extract it. Alright. We should hopefully be live again.
Yep, stream's coming back.
Are we back? I am using my phone data right now. Hopefully I don't have to use it for long. I'll check if the internet has been fixed in a bit, but this is what we're gonna have to work with for now. I'm gonna run the stream and y'all tell me how it goes. I'll run the solution and see, just tell me how smooth the stream is. Hopefully it's fine. My data isn't exactly the fastest.
Okay. Yeah, the stream looks fine.
Pretty good? Alright, good to hear.
Though I think we
I lowered the resolution, so
let's
maybe
move on
that'll
from
help.
application.
Let's see if there's anything I can just turn off so I don't have to worry about though. Alright, where did I leave off? What happened before? Where did I get to before I was cut out? Was I reading the notes? Oh, don't worry, I have
Think
unlimited.
so.
Shit's cheap as fuck in Taiwan. It's just slow.
Jealous. Okay, read the notes and then let's move on to the next solution.
Yeah, we've been looking at the solution for a while. Or I've been looking at it for a while. The game isn't really demanding on the bitrate. Yeah. Well, I mean 720p. I'm supposedly outputting at 720p. I don't know. If it's still all for a lower the bitrate, we don't need that. We don't need that much bitrate anyways. yeah, it was 1080p before.
I'd like to stop talking about bitrate and continue on with the stream.
Alright. Anyways, the notes. Where did I get to on the notes? Did you all hear me actually start reading the notes?
No.
No, alright, let me do it then. This is my first submission to a competition. This works by only removing an input once every 210 tapes. This is accomplished by 3 arms that all have to pivot the input 3 times on the same tape iteration in order for a 4th arm to grab the input and extract it for processing. The first arm repeats state every 6 tapes, the second arm every 5, the third arm every 7. Since each of these numbers have separate prime factors, 2 times 3 times 5 times 7, the least common multiple of these numbers is 210. Using arms with AND-style logic was the only approach I felt capable of pulling off. I considered the possibility of inserting a 6x multiplier with the Bernoulli wheel spinning so that output will only match every 1/6 times, but I realized this required me to change the input grabber to not grab the output if it had not yet been processed. I'm just not ready for the level of wanding shenanigans that would take, if it is possible in this small space. I think the approach could be improved with better space utilization and another arm repeating every 11 cycles, or taking the 6-cycle arm and replacing it with a 4-cycle arm and a 3-cycle arm. I expect the primes would stack if they're on the same arm. The difficulty with the escalating size and primes is that they require tracks with size equal in their repeating period. Trying to put multiple primes on one arm means multiplying the primes across each other, which takes up exorbitantly more space. Alright, I finished reading the notes. Yeah, we're back. Let's go. Refresh the stream if you're having issues. Maybe that'll help. Alright, maybe I should have filled up with water while I was fixing internet. Yeah, it is a nice explanation to LCM strategy. We're going to see a lot more of it. Alright, next up, in 28th place, we have a primary tie. At also 210, we have No Longer Breathe In, except at a period of 16 instead.
There are some magic numbers where
There are primary ties. And apparently 6 times. No, this doesn't even look like the same numbers. What is this? This does not look like it's doing the same method at all, but it comes out to the same number. It's just 14 and 15. Yeah. Apparently the pitch dropped by a septimal diatonic semitone. Let's read the notes. Actually, the septimal diatonic semitone of 15/14 is really a chromatic semitone, tempered out in a 7/10, while the septimal chromatic semitones of 28/27 and 21/20 are actually diatonic, tempered to 1 step of 7/10. They're all actual semitones tempered to 1 step of 12/10, though. This took roughly 15 to 20 minutes of building and a half hour to run to completion. This was previously called 7-number or San Antone, after its RP, but I spotted the pun on pitch and went for it. I'll be honest, I have no idea what the notes just said, but some of you will be able to understand it, so I'm reading it out.
It's note lore.
It's nerd shit. That's what I know. Sounds like music nerd shit. Oh, mathematics of frequency ratios as pitched. Yeah. So, in terms of actual solve, it seems like it could be a 15 on 17, I think. I don't know, let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, or 14, 15, 14. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 10, 12, 13, 14, 15. Yeah, 15 and 14. Mostly griping about music theory, followed by a 7 primordial and the old San Antonio area code. Ah, I see. So yeah, it's a 15 by 14 solve that lines up to 1 over 210. Except it's got a way shorter period. You know, yeah. Is it way shorter? It's a little shorter. It's a 23 versus 16. Alright. Next up, we have at 1 over 228 by Not Great in 27th place. Look at that, it has it in the solution title, 2 by 6 by 19. Very convenient. I have no idea what arm 2 is doing, but it is moving. Would alt click to hex be useful for seeing those outputs? Probably, but at a certain point it doesn't matter. I'm not even on full speed right now. Arm 2 is... It looks like it's doing more than just the 19. 19 by 6, yeah. Is it only moving once? I guess you can move 2 spaces per tape loop. It doesn't matter.
Taking advantage of the conduits.
Mm-hmm.
Neat.
Pac-Man with teeth. Terrifying. So it's gonna actually have to try to grab it again, I assume, before, you know, it actually does the outputting thing. Notes! The notes will explain it. 2 times 6 times 19, a 228 loops per output. The only information storage is in the left chamber via arm 2. It has to go through every possible state for 3 variables. 6 for rotation, giving 6, position giving 19, and if it's holding the Earth atom giving 2. Is it that an Earth atom? That looks like a water atom to me. The corners of the chamber are accessed once per rotation position loop, and it immediately goes from dropping off the atom to grabbing the next one. And since the preparation of the next atom isn't done yet, it takes the whole cycle over again before it can succeed in that grab. This involves moving 2 track positions per tape loop, but that's not a problem since there's an odd number of track positions. Arm 3 does a grab drop on the second hex of conduit 2 and send it immediately back to pretend that we have 2 1-hex conduits instead. As far as I know, this is the maximum possible information storage by a single object. Any additional slowdowns require multiple objects interacting. I suspect there will be a couple people at this local minima, so this V2 did some period optimization. I look forward to seeing all the crazy designs people come up with that will go way beyond this. Jamu says they're stuck in the thought that it must be 4p. Nope. That is a metric we have considered, though. A metric we have considered is to maximize the amount of p that you can do before you get penalized. So it will be like, you know...
I think from here... I think from here forward, a good way to figure out what the solution is doing is just to read the notes, because it's getting increasingly inscrutable and the notes keep explaining it anyway.
Yeah, but, you know, some people don't write notes. So then we're gonna have to try to figure out what it does. Oh, look, there's an output. Okay, we can move on. Alright. Next up then, we have in 26th place at 1 over 390p And at a period of 6, we have Fuyu. Finding Earth. I am computing. You know, before we actually do any analysis, let me read the notes. Wait, what was the jump? 228 to 390? Oh, they get bigger. They get bigger. Well, technically the jumps get smaller and smaller, but we're ignoring that. Alright, the notes. The strategy here is to create triangles such that one of the atoms cycles through different possibilities from the burrow, and only the one with Earth goes into the output, started by using 2 arms to shuffle the input molecule around. The hardest part was getting arm 4 to carry the debonded 2 atom stick away at the right time. Finally reached a setup that produces an output once every 65 periods, and turning the burrow once every period nicely cycles through all the 5 elements. It doesn't explain where the 65 comes from. Where does the 65 come from? 5 times 13? Where's the 13? Yeah, the pivoting
I think
arms,
it's a
yeah.
combination of arm 2 and arm 3.
Yeah. I would assume so. It's hard to, like, you know, math out that it is 13. It's somewhat similar to Metal Chaos, except now it's pivoting chaos. 13 is such a weird number.
And we get weird solutions for this metric.
Mm-hmm. Arm 2 and 3 are at 13. And we have Berlo conditional as well. If wrong output, just throw it out. That's basically what this is doing. Feels like it should be 12, but the solution tells us it's 13.
The disposal gets to eat every color of atom. A balanced breakfast.
A balanced breakfast starts the day with a bowl of fire, air, water, and earth. Earth, wind, and fire, and some water as a treat. Oh, and salt. This there's that too. It gets an extra serving of salt too. Interesting solution. It's interesting that you can get a period of 13 from the pivoting arms. Such a weird number. Technically, smoking weed uses all the 4 cardinal elements. Alright. I guess not smoking weed, but using a bong. I don't know how this shit works. I don't smoke weed. Alright. Next up, we have at 1 over 576. The multipliers are... the metric is just gonna be multiplied and multiplied from here on out. 1 over 576. We have by Nathan F. at a period of 85. I believe that's one of the longer periods we have so far. Centrifuge. There's a reason this is a period of this long. Anybody want to guess what the right chamber is doing? Like the big hexagon track? Yeah. Anyways, that right chamber, what that's doing there is implementing a binary counter that carries every 6 tape loops. I've watched this solution before when it came in, so I know what it does. But, you know, let's let the notes explain it first. Gotta go slow. This solution spins a lot, so I imagine that it's centrifuging the pitch until it's liquid enough to drip out. The right chamber is a 5-bit binary counter. One increment happens every 6 periods. The overflow bit, after after reaching counter 32 is used to build the output molecule. So it takes 6 times 32 times 3 to make a 576 period to make one output. I was actually planning to make a triple earth molecule and then paint one corner of water, but at some point I made a mistake and couldn't figure out how to fix it. So instead I made a triple water molecule and painted the 2 corners earth. The reason for the extra multiplied by 3 is it only gives 1 atom per every time it counts up. Let's speed this up. We can speed this up. Just watch the binary counter go burr. Y'all know your binary counting, yeah? Sorry for all the disposal noise. Zorflex with a no. It's counting. It's
And the
counting,
atom-
alright.
The piston doing the binary counting doesn't actually grab the atom that adds 1.
Yeah, it only does so every
until
time
every
it finishes
60
all the
of the
carrying
bits.
operations. Because, all the bits have
Yeah,
to be
that's-
carried over,
that's
and then it grabs a new atom, which conveniently increases the period by 6. Yeah, it's so satisfying to see just the binary counter going at full speed. Anyways, once it fully fills up, which is not soon actually, still got an extra bit. It's like, you can see next to ARM 5, there's a partial output being composed. Yeah, it's neat that one tape that puts the binary counter ARM 1/6 of the way around the track. It's a convenient implementation of the binary counter. You were saying?
The multipliers are getting meta.
Mm. Alright, we'll speed this up. Watch the output. So you can see next to ARM 5, the output's being slowly assembled. It's gonna get there eventually. Oh, hi Nathan. Welcome to the chat. I mean, having it being multiplied by 6 actually improved your score, so, why not? Oh yeah, I already outputted. We don't have to listen to the disposal noises that much. Products, 1 out of 6. We're not gonna... Well, I mean, we will see some solutions, finishing. I think it's one specific solution in particular where someone was nice enough to do initialization that outputs all 6 immediately, but... Alright, next up. We have, in 24th place, at 1/780, with a period of 14, we have Egg Sucker AAA. Ring around the rosy. Now we're back to this shit. So, what does this do? Let's read the notes. The big track loop is 13 hexes, so ARM 1 needs to travel it 6 times to get back to its starting rotation. At this rotation, it can grab the reagent at the first bottom point of the track, and transfers the reagent from the bottom middle to ARM 6. However, it cannot do both of these in sequence, because the reagent is stored off to the left until ARM 1 passes the second bottom point. Because of this, ARM 1 takes 6 track loops to grab a reagent, and another 6 to send it to the chamber. In the second chamber, ARM 8 will grab 1/5 of these reagents and turn them into products, while the remaining 4/5 get trashed. So it's 13 times 6 times 2 times 5. Is that the right number? Does that add up correctly? I just noticed my phone is like on the windowsill, so I can't use my phone calculator.
Well, I don't want to get out the calculator either, so let's just say it's correct because the machine sure is working.
The machine sure is working. Yeah, there we go. And then it's being disposed of until arm 8 lines up. My sources, I made it the fuck up. Yeah, it sure does work. I wonder if we can line up arm 8. Or just line up the arms properly to, Nah, that's too difficult. It works. The proof is too long to containing these small chambers. I mean, the problem is this isn't... You can't exactly do a first chamber output. The first cycle output. Because, arm 1 needs to do it twice, and that's not something we can initialize. And it depends on the board state. But I guess we could move arm 8, but I'm not here to figure out like which position for arm 8 is the right one. It works. 5 is a coprime of the of all the other numbers. It does the right thing. I guess we can elephant mode it if you want to hear the kathunk sound. It'll do it eventually. Oh look, there it is. It just did it. On the third one, I think.
Yes, blessed output donk sound.
But there's another one. Alright, let's move on. In 23rd place, we have 1 over 858 at a period of 11 by Petracat. Straight up suppressing it. And by it, I mean my input. Oh, wow, no, this is way too fast. Let me slow that down.
Good meme.
So, what this does is that arm 6 and arm 5 are offset by, the notes don't tell me. I have to count. Because all the note says is finally use the Bamberlis word for something other than input suppression, giving a nice, about 3 times slowdown. Is this the first Burlow? No, we've seen Burlow. We've seen Burlow as a multiply by 6. This one's doing a multiply by 3. Because 2 is already coprime elsewhere. So what this does is arm 6 and arm 5 will eventually line up, and the earth will copy onto the saw, and the earth will travel through the conduit to be duplicated over at arm 4. But because arm 5 drops it sometimes, you know. Oh wait, no, it grabs it again. Okay. There was a time where the solution didn't actually... Oh, it does it now with the top arm. Yeah. So, you know, the top arm drops it off, but then it has to take an entire loop to grab it again. And at the same time, it's sometimes a different atom. Internet hiccup? Oof.
I love how you think, Betrak.
So, yeah. Eventually it will line up, and it will be a proper Earth atom. That's going to be on the output. But in the meantime, it has to wait for it to line up and wait for it to be the right atom. The tracks are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, 11, 13 by 11. Faster, please. Sure. We're already seeing how it works. Gotta hear that oh so satisfying kathunk. Petracat. That's how I pronounce it. You know, like a cat. Like, yeah. So yeah. Clever ways to multiply the factor. The Burlow hits are water, earth, and salt, apparently. So it's a multiply by 3. Alright, next up, we have, at 1 over 1950, we drop it out here. That's like, it's more than double the slow. We have Silverbite at a period of 38. I mean, just add a just add a ×2 multiplier and it's doubly as slow, so we can slow this down in the beginning. And it's got notes. I will read the notes. And once the notes finish reading, I can speed it up again. You knew you were coming up shortly? At like double the metric? Well, like half, but you know, it's easier to think of it as double. Alright, notes. Hey. First time entering the weekly after years of not playing the game, but I had a ton of fun watching the weeklies in the past, so I'm gonna try to compete this time. And I have to say, this first puzzle was an amazing start. Really the gift that kept on giving. Sadly, I barely didn't manage to make the website say 0, but I'm pretty happy with the solution. Let's hope I'm not last at least. Oh yeah, if you make the if you go over 1 over 2000, it makes the website say 0. It's kind of funny.
The gift brackets German that keeps on giving.
An explanation if needed. Right chamber is a delay where arm 1 performs 1 rotate every 13 times 6 periods. It takes 5 rotates to send 1 reagent through. I imagine almost everyone has gone for a similar cycle mismatch delay, but I couldn't find any which took more cycles than this one. Left chamber stalls by making a polymer, which takes 5 reagents, then cherry picks 1 product while disposing of all the other atoms in 1 massive period. The obvious improvement on this design I'm not mad enough for finding a stall which takes more than 5 reagent and making it so leftovers cause the next polymer to form directly and get rejected completely. Basically a looping finite state machine where only one of the states sends a product. But yeah. Edit. Is this what people mean when they say conditionals? Probably reinventing the wheel, but hey, at least I'm learning the game. Further edit. Discovered Biggie's blog. What a wealth of knowledge. But yes, the thing about making a computer computation puzzles is exactly what I managed to think of but not implement. I'm now definitely convinced the top spots are going to be massive period voodoo magic. Goodbye. Everyone with negative primary must be pretty confident. How do you get negative primary? By causing an error in AHK, that works. Bribery. I will accept fish as bribery. Biggie Vlog is a window into wizardry. It is. Still looking forward to the tournament Biggie Vlog whenever that's coming around.
It gets there when it gets there.
It gets there when it gets there. If I want to see the disassembly, they recommend elephanting to the last disposal of a single atom, then switch to the rabbit and waiting until arm 2 pushes 2 bond atom in and slowing down. I mean, I think I'll just watch the stick push and go burr. It'll happen eventually. Slowly. Oh, that's a thick stick. I was expecting only 1 atom. When am I getting to the tinkering? We get there when we get there.
Return of register sticks, nice.
Yeah, it says it's gonna do it at a register of 5. So, coming up soon. $74K cycles. Well, that's coming up. $74K. Oh, well, it did it before that. Oh, well. Yeah, and then it does the output. I did not see it do the disassembly, but oh well. We know it works. That's good enough, right?
Yep.
Alrighty. Next up then, we have another huge drop. There's a lot of solutions that we skipped that people have improved upon. We have, in 21st place, at 1 hour 54.60, we have Natty 42.
So we are now firmly in the range where the website says your prime area is 0, but we know better.
Yeah, I mean, there's the secondary, there's like the second metric that tells you your score. I assume the entire left chamber is just a giant LCM machine. Top half, let's go. Is it exactly top half? Oh yeah, it is. This looks really familiar now. Alright, notes. Oh, sorry. Notes say, make it cheaper again, column 3. Added previous notes. Changed arm 5 and removed arm 6, making the contraption cheaper. Third tiebreak will likely which likely won't matter. Does it matter? Not in the slightest. Moved arms 10, 13, and 14 to make a period of 8 work. So basically on the right we have a thingy that drops a blue orb in the hole and waits for it to come back. On the left we have a rotating arm on a loop of 4 and arms on a loop of 5, 7, and 13. All are required to move the blue orb with exact timing back into the hole, or else a few other arms will put it in the certain spot at the top, giving us 5 times 7 times 13 times 6 from arm 10's rotation times 2, which would be 4, but the parity collides with the rotation. Once in every 5460 cycles that the orb can go back into the hole. Once the orb goes in the hole, and the other orbs are finally moved off the input and worked into the output, while the 5460 cycle requirement starts all over. So it's just a better LCM machine.
Add more multipliers.
Just add more multipliers, yeah.
As many multipliers as you can fit in there.
You can squeeze a lot of multipliers, especially if you use like the lower prime numbers instead of like 13 and 17. You can fit a lot more space. You can do a lot more multiplying with the smaller numbers. I mean, this still has a giant 13, but yeah. Slap roof of cabinet.
Yeah.
This thing can fit so many tracks inside of it. Holy fuck, why are you so large? Oh, we'll get to why people are saying these cabinets are large. We'll get there. You know, what would have been
The thing about the thing about small prime numbers is that you eventually run out of them and have to reach for the 13.
Yeah. And you can still fit more LCM numbers. Yeah, look at a chamber. Look at the right chamber. It looks so tantalizingly empty with all the equilibria.
Oh, all those hexes are used by the equilibrium. This chamber is full.
Ah, yes. It can contain no more. Such a shame that 13 and 17 are so far away. Yeah. Bestigon solves. All of these solves are Bestigon solves. Well, I mean double Bestigon solves, but you know, gets the point across. This solve does something eventually, we swear. Yeah, pretty much. I mean, at a certain point, I don't think speeding up is actually going to help us actually see the solution, so, you know, we trust that it works. That's good enough for me. Alright. Next up, we have, in 20th place, at basically double again, we have Evanov at 1 over 11,264. Wait, what is this? It's binary counting, we're back to binary counting, let's go. The notes
No
say,
more 13 traps.
test note. Thank you, Ebanov. We're gonna have to analyze this ourselves. Anyways, assuming that the colors that we saw were pretty random, I assume this is a presence and absence binary counting. Is it binary counting? No, it's got triplex. I don't think that's binary. Ebanov, you gave me no notes, please. I guess it's the different. You know, I think it's the binary is fire or not. Yeah, I believe the binary is fire or not. It doesn't look like.
I missed
mean,
how it actually got to fire.
It got the fire somehow. So how many bits is this? Somebody mentioned earlier it's 2 over 10. I mean, we don't have any. Oh, well, there's salt. The burlo never rotates.
Oh, okay.
Like ever. So it's only gonna duplicate off fire. I think it's just binary with the difference between fire or not fire. Yeah.
Okay.
And it looks like there's 10 bits rotating through, so and we calculated that this is 2 over 2 to the power of 10 multiplied by 11. Yeah. But look at that hex arm though. We're gonna see more hex arms, don't you worry. So yeah, there's a terminating bit right there, yeah? Yeah, there's a terminating bit. Anyways, now that we're here, I can finally bring out this neat little thing known as the scaffolding mod. Except I don't know how to initialize. This thing initializes itself, so it's hard to turn them all into fire.
I'm gonna be real with you. I can't make heads or tails out of this. I'm sorry.
Wait, that's not the infinite factory mod. Did the pad go through? It should still be connected. So when does this output exactly? I guess when there's an extra carry bit around to output it. I guess we can sort of cheat by doing this one moment. There we go, everything is fire now. It moves a gap around. Yeah, that gap is the detection for when it should. The gap is the terminating symbol. Wait. Let's not. Yeah, so like when it's all fire, it's gonna output. I assumed that was the case. It's already done in output. And every time there's a if you look closely, there's an empty space that's moving around the counter tape, I suppose is what I would call it. And once we reach that empty space into the processor, that checks for a carry bit, and if the carry bit is there, it'll pick up the output and send it through, like that. Apparently the duplication needs to be right as well. Earth comes around eventually. I have no idea how it works because I've tampered with this. This is not how it's supposed to normally operate. But the OMSIM verified it, so I'm sure it works as it should. Alright. If you update your comments, will they show? No. Because these notes are local. I've downloaded them.
Just explain stuff to us in chat when we're inevitably.
Yeah, you can send over Discord or just talk in the chat when your stuff comes up. The 1/11 factor is because it has a 1/11 loop looping through 11 atoms. Well, I mean 10 atoms, except 10 atoms and 1 empty. Alrighty then. Next up, we have a host solve by Murakonda, which did not look at any of the solutions that were submitted, and just tried to make her own. At a metric of 39 to 70. Let's go. More coprimes. We're back to coprimes. And Murakonda is nice enough to give us the initialization. And she gave us no notes. Oh well.
Stack more multipliers.
Stack more multipliers. Well, it's in the title. It's 5 by 6 by 7 by 11 by 17. Where's the 5 is arm 7. The 6 is arm 3 on a rotate in the rotation. The 7 is arm 3, chugging along on the track. The 11 is arm 5, and the 17 is arm 1. Turns out when you stack a lot of multipliers, it's a big number. Se. Mora, you wrote your pronouns wrong. It's supposed to be se. So yeah, we already saw output. It's just gonna take a long while before doing it again. It's got a surprisingly long tape loop, actually. It's got a period of 45. I guess most of that is just arm 6 doing all the processing. All the other arms do a lot too. I guess that's just to move it along and do the resetting as well. In case a grab happens but it doesn't work. Correcting someone's pronouns at them in 2024. Surprised how it took so long to get a simple solution like this? Yeah. I mean, just utilize all the space you have. You'll get there eventually. The mosquito pronouns, itchy. God, I love these pronouns jokes. Alrighty. Not much to talk about with this solution. It does what a lot of previous solutions have done, but at a bigger scale. Next up, we have multiplied again by a lot. It's at let me see if I can read this number correctly. 1/117,810. At a period of 92, we have Cuckoo 52.
So, for those who weren't aware, at this point, from this point forward, people are had to submit to a secret second page called the Failure to Verify Club because the website just bricked on their solutions.
I mean, not all of these had to submit. Some of them with shorter periods survived. But yes, most of them had to. We have reached the point of the failure to verify club. So most of these solutions we downloaded and verified it ourselves with unlimited time using Panic Computer.
Yeah,
It's a
that's the
timeout
next thing
limit.
from
It's not the limit in terms of how many cycles it simulates. It's a limit in terms of how long it takes for it to run, in terms of time, and it does it locally. So
so it does not completely brick OM Sim yet.
it does it locally, so it depends on your computer speed. If you're like submitting on a shitty laptop, it's gonna take. You'll probably like enter the. You'll probably be entering the failure to verify club. Oh yeah, it starts just early. I'll let it start running. But yeah, what we did with the failure to verify is we down some of the solutions, namely the ones that are and the ones that are upcoming as well. We actually were able to simulate it in a finite amount of time on Panic's computer, because it just takes a little bit longer to finish it. Some of them, yes, some of them, Biggie. Yeah, Guilty Bystander is saying that they have a higher soft that succeeded to verify. It really depends on your device, honestly.
Yeah.
It depends on your device and the amount of cycles is important too. So if your period is shorter, it's gonna be verifying for a smaller primary score. It depends on your gaming chair. So true. Anyways, there's not a lot of notes for this.
Yeah.
The notes say 1 over 117,810 products for tape loop, which is 17 times 11 times 7 times 5 times 6 times 3. You can probably parse all the numbers on there somewhere. 17 times 11 times 7 and 5 are track loop lengths. 6 because of the arm that's spinning around. 3 because the atom has to make it through 3 times, I think. Not even Cuckoo52 knows. Can be verified by disabling either of the track loops in the right chamber.
That's such a Cuckoo 52 thing. This is a really good solution. I have no idea how it works.
Let's see, can't be verified by disabling either of the track loops in the right chamber. Either. There's 3 of them. Let's see, 7, 6, and 8. No, it uses plus. Just have a reset tape. And where does the 3 come from? I'm mostly curious about that. I guess it's just it takes 3 atoms to like make. I don't know if I did it correctly. I can't avoid the notes now that they're mandatory. Yes. If those of you that didn't know about the failure to verify club, you had to submit with notes to prove your to provide a proof of your no disposal. I don't know if I set it as up
the
correctly.
mandatory notes personally.
Actually, no, I might have not set this up properly. Yeah, arm 8 is twitching on the bottom. Oh, whatever. It should do what it is. It should do what it says it does. Because we manually verified it offline. Just bigger coprimes. That's what it is. Alright, next up we have at 1 over 120, 120, at a period of 70, we have Spiritual Shampoo, who has been forced to write notes because he's part of the failure to verify club.
I think the shortest notes in the failure to verify club.
Oh, I think there's been shorter. Some of them just write the metric score and go like, oh yeah, all right, good enough. They just write the multiplication and the and the metric score, and that's it. Well, I mean, like this one. This is basically that. Rate over period equals LCM 3, 5, 7, 8, 11, 13, which equals to 120, 120. Period over rate is 1 over 120, which equals to 8.325 e to the negative 6. If scientific numbers are concerning you, be scared. Be scared. Theoretically, there is enough space for 1 over 180, 180. Practically, I am lazy. So yeah, we can talk about how the right chamber works. Apparently I think what the right chamber does is try to keep like the atom there long enough so that it actually pivots onto the Do all of them pivot? No, arm 7 and 8 pivot. What it does is like it pivots to make sure eventually it's gonna line up and it's gonna pivot at the right moment so that it actually copies the Earth, and assume that the copied Earth is gonna act as a catalyst to output. And because of this solution doesn't have disposal, so it does an initialization to put just 2 water atoms there and an Earth atom here. Some of these notes are long,
Yeah.
they're nice. Also, if any of you are fine with coming on stream to read your own notes, feel free to. Just let me know and join the VC. I'll let you in.
Thing about disposal is that if you use disposal, that's 7 hexes that couldn't be tracked, and
Yeah.
if you add more track, your solution gets slower.
I mean, you could raise hand on Discord, but I'm not looking at Discord. Just tell me in the Twitch chat, it's faster. It has output 1 already. Is that just initialization, or is it oh, like everything is lined up for the first time? All right, let's watch it go then. I think it looks like they're about to line up. Oh yeah, right. So arm 5 and 6 need to cooperate to die one of the atoms, and arm 7 and 8 need to cooperate to die the other atom. I see. That's how it works. Alright, anyways. Next up, we have another primary tie. Which comes out of primary from someone who says that it probably wouldn't matter. Next up, we have at also 1 over 120, 120, we have Avenged Ruler and Skyhawk with a period of 12. Spiritual Shampoo was the one that said it probably wouldn't matter, by the way. Now this one's confusing. I've seen these Garden Path solves. I do not understand what the fuck Arm 2 is doing. It's doing something alright, and it's increasing the period. Anyways, the notes. Eventually says, oh, don't worry, we don't understand either. It just does the thing, and it's a big number. That's why we're scoring this high. OM Sim tells us the answer anyways. Alright, notes. Skyhawk says, the first product is created about cycle 400. The second takes a bit longer. I guess we'll see the first product coming up. Is it doing it? Is it doing it? Oh, it already output.
Yep.
Yeah. Avenged Ruler says, we decided pretty early on that we felt Burlow and the other glyphs were not worth the time given how much space we had to work with, so we went with a more straightforward approach. The solution works on 2 main premises. Track loops make one move and then go around the full track, sometimes many times. Track lengths are used to separate prime numbers so that none of are factors of each other. Using these 2 main concepts, we end up with a situation where 5 times 7 times 11 times 13 all need to line up which when you factor that in that the main 13 long track is rotating the arm and have to go around the entire track, ends up increasing the rate quite considerably. There's also a black magic factor of 4 left over that we really don't know the cause of, but we take those. I assume the 4 is from like the weird returning positions that the atom is placed on. So like ARP2 is actually a 13 times 6 times 4, because it takes 4 loops to actually process the water atom through, I assume what you all call the garden path. Like the water atom is just moving about, and it probably like takes 4 times for it to actually go to the proper place to be outputted.
It's just endlessly funny to me when we get these, and there's this other multiplier that I don't know where it comes from notes.
The simulator tells us that there's an extra times 4 multiplier. We have no idea where it comes from, but we take those. Big props to Skyhawk on most of this implementation. Even though you're the one that wrote most of the notes, and Skyhawk only said, oh yeah, it outputs at about cycle 400. Well, we saw the first output. We can look at it again at a slower speed. It only happens at cycle 400. That doesn't take too long. Speed it up a little bit. We can still read what it's doing at the slower speed. It looks like the ARM2 in the solution is that we added bullshit instructions to it and it eventually works out to make the number larger. Alright, next up, we have at 1 over 180, 180, at a period of 101, in 16th place, we have Fiesta Lantern. Oh, there it goes. It explains how it works in the solution title. It's 6 times 11 times 13 times 5 times 7 times 3 times 2.
Stack more multipliers.
And that is a lot of notes. And I am out of water. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to let the solution run for a moment while I get some water, and I'll be right back with y'all. See you in a bit.
The thing is, I know some people want this stream to be short, but I have access to the notes, so I'm just going to start reading them for you guys. Cabinets, unusual metrics. Sounds like the perfect way to excite Kevalairn and Flummox Fiesta. We were both wildly off base at first, actually. We saw the metric was P over R and immediately agreed that means we should minimize P. So we built a P4 machine that optimized out of 665 loops per product. The big challenge with such a device is that P4 limits the number of actions per arm, so you need more arms to do sophisticated manipulations, and in a cabinet, space is easily the most precious commodity. Halfway through the week, we had a realization. P and R are always proportional. If we put a period override instruction arbitrarily far to the right of our P4 machine, the score would be exactly the same. Period doesn't matter. We can have fewer arms doing more stuff and reclaim some of that space for implementing slow jank. Or, we could have just read the puzzle page. Anyway, once we were on the right track, we understood that the task here was to have many conditionals with the largest possible LCM. And in general, conditionals can be timing-based, arm in a certain position at a certain time, or geometry-based, atom in a certain hex at any time. We opted to prioritize timing conditionals, as they reduce the headache of calculating and avoiding potential collisions. Arms on tracks are the most obvious tools for this. Initially, we tried to get the largest prime number factors possible. Our first successful solve in this philosophy had timing conditionals of 23 times 6 on the left and 17 on the right, with an additional factor of 2 based on the geometry conditional of needing 2 inputs per product. Staking the ground at 4,692 loops. But as any mathematician could have told us immediately, larger factors don't matter nearly as much as more factors. Which, aside, is what I've been saying this whole stream. We came to this realization ourselves after one pointed out to the other, 11 times 7 is a lot bigger than 23, and it requires less track. So the new task was set. The problem with timing conditionals is that you cannot use the same factor more than once, while geometry conditionals have no such limitation. So we set out to cram as many of the smallest primes into the solve as we could. And aside, we've been seeing this in all the previous solutions as well. We got the first 6, 2, 3, 5, 7, 11, 13, which would give a theoretical metric of 3,000, 30,030 loops per product. One of the numbers that people mentioned earlier in the stream that someone said was surprised that didn't come up. Anyway, space to add one more geometry conditional around building a 3-stick, and taken together with the half-P construction method, this yielded a metric of 2 times 2 times 3 times 3 times 5 times 7 times 11 times 13, or 180,180 loops per product. I imagine it comes as no surprise that this solve has never completed even one product in-game. 10 million cycles is a little too long to wait. Even here, in the realm of grossly impractical solves, is this the best approach? Maybe not. We have 8 factors in our solve, and as discussed, more factors is generally better. The reusability of small factors with geometry conditions beckons. For example, making conditional 4 sticks 8 times with one non-resetting single arm for an easy timing conditional would yield 4 to the power of 8 times 6 equals almost 400,000 loops per product, better than double what we have managed. But that sounds hard. Good luck.
I see Cassian has read the notes for me. And it's fine.
There were a
I'm
lot
back.
of them, and people. Yeah,
People
there were a
did.
lot of them, and people want the stream to hurry up, so that's what I did.
Mhm. All right. How long have I been streaming? Oh, we've been at this for 2 hours already. All right.
Yeah.
All right. We gotta speed things up then. So yeah, the solution's not gonna finish. It hasn't even outputted a thing. I hope the notes have explained well enough for y'all what the solution does, because we will be moving on now.
Yeah.
Reading every word of the
We're
note may
not
not
gonna
be
read all
feasible. I mean, sometimes they're nice notes, but alright. Moving on, we have...
I skipped the second half of the notes too. Anyway, continuing.
Oh yeah, there was more notes. I assumed you weren't going to read them because it's just math. Alright.
Right.
Next up, we have... And also, 180 over 180, 1 over 180, 180. But at a period of half of the previous solve, we have username void. It's yet another primary time. And yet people were saying that these weren't gonna happen. These notes are shorter. Does it do the exact same numbers? Five, 6, 7, 11, 13, 4, and then multiply by a 3 because it makes 1/3 of the product each time? Or requires 3, yeah. It's a similar solve. Shall we read the notes for this one? Let's see.
Briefly, let me check.
All right, I'll skip what it explains. Explaining the numbers adding up. Left chamber has a 7 loop with a rotating arm, so 7 times 6, 11 loop on the right, 5 loop on the left. Right chamber has a 13 loop to grab, 4 loop to block grabs, and requires 3 inputs to make 1 output. That's the numbers. The 5 loop blocks from the inputs from being grabbed. The 7 loop grabs and pivots the input. The 11 loop runs with it if not taken. And if not taken, it gets reset by arm 3. The right chamber builds the molecule only if the 13 loop piston grabs first, else it trashes everything. It then grabs a water if there's no molecule there, else it adds an earth. I realized maybe halfway through the week that using additive rather than track loops to progress the board state is way stronger, but I don't want to program that. So I accept my mediocre placement. I'm curious if anyone beats this using a similar approach though. My prediction for theory min is, get ready for this, 1 over 7 to the power of 60 times 6 times around 200. So we'll see if anyone gets close to that or not. 7 to the 60. Yes, yes.
That's a fake number.
I will skip the explanation on how that works, but That's a teaser for now. But yeah. We shall see then. Biggest prediction is 1113 to the 24. You can encode a lot of information in this. Because you're given an infinite amount of instructions and you can just use as many instructions as you want to encode as much information in a limited amount of space as possible. I think that's what the biggest mistake we made was. Giving y'all infinite space in terms of periods. In terms of the instructions. But alright. Next up, we move on down to bigger number at 1 over 207 480 with a period of 28. We have, I don't even know how to pronounce it, the team of Mr. Puzzle and RPO. Mr. or Puzzle or something. Alright. Coprime. It's coprimes, but better. Mr. Puzzle. Mr. Puzzle. That works too. Anyways, we got more coprimes. This one is ARM 4 on a 19 track, ARM 5 on a 13 track, ARM 6 on an 8 track, ARM 7 on a 7 track, ARM 8 on a 5 track that also rotates 120 degrees per tape loop. That's an interesting number. I wonder why it's 120. Probably because it doesn't matter.
It's cool how every time we think the LCM solves are done, they're not done.
And then we just see more LCM solves. It just keeps on going. Anyways, I won't read all the math notes. But this means it's 19 by yeah. And to confirm this, contrast is solved to two similar solves submitted to the regular set about 25 minutes ago. I mean, we did actually just submit this, run this locally, so it's confirmed as well. So yeah, the notes are just an explanation on how the numbers works. Yeah, I guess it's doing 120 degrees because it only has to factor in the factor of 3. It doesn't need to care about the extra 2 that only 60 degrees provides. Because there's already a track length of 8 running around. Allodrasper sister theme had a theoretical LCM at 360-360. I don't think... No, I don't see any 360-360 solves. Maybe there were, but they've been deleted. I don't know. Yeah, the 8-track means that spinning 60 degrees wouldn't do anything. It's one less instruction, though. There's that, right? You gotta squeeze out every single bit. But alright. Next up, we have... These numbers are starting to not make sense anymore. Next up, we have about double this. At 510, 510, at a period of 74, we have Guilty Bystander. Guilty Bystander says they wrote a knapsack solver to find the optimal loops. And they can discuss their findings after. So I guess this is, since they use the knapsack algorithm solve, I assume this is going to be near the maximum of LCM that LCM can provide us now.
Wow.
We love computer-assisted solves. Speaking of computer-assisted solves, if y'all don't know, there's a tournament coming up of the where you make your own computer algorithm to solve Opus Magnum. You have to solve 1,000 puzzles in a day. It's a fun event coming up, hosted by Panic, that you should totally try to check out. You should check it out in the Opus Magnum Discord. Yeah, it's Guilty Bystander.
I'm just impressed that this is above Hello Jasper's predicted theoretical maximum for LCMs.
Yeah, I suppose the theoretical maximum for LCMs is just what they managed to think they could fit in. This over here used the algorithm to fit in as much space as possible. Anyways, the notes. The notes don't really say anything important. It's just explaining the numbers. Alright, we can skip those. But yeah, LCM Go Burr. You can fit a lot of numbers in this thing.
I guess the workhorse is the piston here.
Y'all made an actual layout for it, just never programmed it. I see. But yeah, those of you in like the remaining solution probably knows what's coming up. But before that though, we have a solution that's not a counter that still scores better than this. We have next up at 415 8,000 at a period of 349 Stein FG. Half of this is LCM. The other half is the register sticks that we've been seeing earlier, so that I can do multiplications without having to consider the the co-primes. 4.15
This is a level of
million.
LCM beyond LCM.
This is like half of it is LCM, and the other half is just doing like we've seen the register sticks before, right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I've actually prepared a solution for this one. We can watch it run. It's not gonna do much, but I've actually prepared a solution where you can actually see it output. Let me actually go look for it and load it in.
Yeah. Just to make it explicit, we have broken into the millions.
Mm-hmm.
And we're still not in top 10 because this freaking community, I swear.
If you want to see it output, wrong one. I've done some initialization. So eventually, the solution is going to build up all these registers. And then it's gonna, like, it's kind of like a counter really, except that, you know, the base of each of the, I guess, digits is of a variable length. So yeah, I suppose in one way it's like, you know, doing a counter with a different, varying amounts of numbers before carrying. And there we go, we have seen an output. And it does it all over again, counting a unary, yeah. Counting unary and multiplying those numbers together. That's how this one is gonna work. And the notes. There's a lot of notes on this one. Let's see. I'll skip the explanation of the solution because it's probably pretty clear. But apart from that, it says 6th submission. It has 4,158,000 loops per one product. It's over 4 million. And P.S. I checked the validity of the left chamber by running it for about 3 million cycles. Nothing broke in the state of the left chamber loops. The validity of the right chamber is checked by placing return instructions at the end of the tape, near the delay instructions on arm numbers 1 through 5. Those arms are in the left chamber, except the arm that does initialization, which is number 6. This way, the right chamber assembles the product and loops its state every couple million cycles or so. Speed up mod is essentially required for above. Also, completing the puzzle normally will take around 8.7 billion cycles, and I can't do that. Yeah, those are the notes. We actually finished simulating this one on Panic's computer. Panic, how long did it take with the collisions on? Since, you know, we thought, you know, it's still LCM, we might as well like simulate it on the computer. It took a while. It took a long while. yeah, like a 1.5 hours to finish simulating it. The version without collisions was much faster though.
I think this was the one that took the longest to simulate.
Oh yeah, this was the one. This was the last one. This was the slowest one that we even bothered trying to simulate. So, which means all of solutions that are after this we have not actually simulated, but there are proofs that the solutions do work. And with that, we also have to move on from this AHK file because I have to open the other one.
So beyond this point, Sim has truly been defeated.
I mean, if we wanted to wait long enough, maybe it'll eventually work, but... Small drop incoming. Yeah, small drop of about, you know, to the order of, you know, 3 orders above, 3 orders slower than that. We have slap drill at 1 over 2 to the 28th power. Look, it's scientific numbers. Let's go. We're finally here. It's time for binary counting. 2
We
to
are
the
now entering
28.
the divine realm. Please keep your hands and feet inside the vehicle at all times.
Sure, yeah. I'm gonna let you join. Invite to speak. Let me make sure I'm clicking the right one. Hello, welcome.
Hello.
Oh, Echo.
Hi.
You wanna explain yourself? You can read your notes if you want to as well.
So this is a binary counter, so the entire right side just counts up by 1 every tape loop, and then there's 28 spots on the counter if you include the second spot of conduit 2. So this just keeps, like, it takes out a single salt atom from each one of the inputs, and then it just uses those as the binary counting, and then it disposes of the rest. Like, after it's done, if it doesn't make the product. So then it's that arm, those 2 arms, 1 and 2 at the left chamber, the one that actually like do the logic for the binary counting. The rest is just to try to bring all the atoms around to get them in at the right time.
Yeah. So you know the tape like increased. I mean, it's doing the entire tape per period. Yeah. So
Yeah,
like it
because
loops
I
through the
couldn't figure
entire
out a
thing.
good way to limit between the like added space delimiter between the mark when the end should be.
Yeah, a lot
So
of
I just
people
figured
did use the
space
space
delimiter.
delimiter for this. And if you want to see how I verified these solutions, let me show you how I went about it. So what I did was I would just slap these on. These are scaffolding. I'll do this. I'll delete that later. This is faster. This is what I did to verify most of the solutions. Just fill the entire counter up to right before it's supposed to carry.
Yeah,
Is,
I tried later
is,
on to make a better solution that did use quintessence, but I didn't finish it because it was a pain to program.
Is a conduit
Like, pretty
1
much just
used?
this,
I don't
but I added in
remember.
quintessence.
That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, and 23, 24, 25, 26, 27. Okay, that's 28 of them. Yeah, I remembered correctly. And we can just watch it output. It's satisfying to see the counter just finishing it up. We can watch it in a slower speed. This is what I did to verify these solutions. Because, you know, they're not going to finish running in a normal amount of time.
And then I also did notice that there was just a ton of unused space in my solution, but I was too lazy to change everything to add them, so
Yeah.
just stick with this. Like, I could have used conduit fading to fit one on the other side of the 2 conduit and stuff, but too lazy.
And I can also delete
And
this
the
bit
social
to,
has a bunch of spaces on it as well.
what I can do is also delete bit number 1, and just, you know, I also do this to check to make sure all the shuffling actually works when the board is full. So, you know, I gotta make sure all the shuffling works out, and then after this it's gonna increase it by 1 again, and then it's gonna output. These are the tests I do to make sure these run properly. And, you know, I also check that it actually does the carrying properly for the bits, but yeah. We saw that the carrying works at the start. OMSyn can handle all the LCM solves, so I can heroically verify all the top solves by hand. I could go into more detail, but you know, I trust that it works. What I could have done is like added one bit one at a time, added a bit one at a time to like fill the whole board to make sure that all the carries actually work properly.
I also, like, I made a showcase submission that just only has 3 bits, because I needed that in order to figure out what I was actually doing.
Yeah. Alright. Do you want me to read your notes, or to...
You don't need to. I think I said everything I cared to say.
Alrighty. Okay, so...
It was a fun start playing Opus Magnum again, though.
Welcome back. Sorry that this is the first week that you encountered making a binary counter. And it gets more than binary, we'll see those in a bit. But yeah,
Step
moving
1,
on then.
Stabilize water. Step 2, question marks. Step 3, binary counter.
Alright, next up we have, at 2 orders of magnitude slower than this, we have a solution by Bees. New submitter, I believe. Yes, we're going by order of magnitudes right now. This is 3 times 2 to the power of 32. A briefcase full of bees. So yeah, this is also a counter, and like the multiply by 3 is just a simple way of it's just because it creates 1 atom of the output every time it actually completes. A whole nation, in fact. Bees Nation. Have you seen Dr.
So
Bees?
here it's no longer about making the tracks longer. It's about having more digits in your counter.
Yeah, it's about having trying to fit as many digits in your solution as possible. So
and this is why people hated the chamber size.
Anyways, as we see it carry, I'm gonna just I'm gonna fill it up with earth atoms. I hope I'm putting them in there. Nope, that one isn't needed. I'm hoping I'm filling them up in the right spot. I need to count, because I've done these before, so I'm kind of going off memory. But that's, it's supposed to be 32 of them. I haven't been counting while I duplicated them. That would have been smart. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27. Right, bit 32 is here. Alright. Oh yeah, I already fixed the missing one. I guess it's stream delay. How Jasper mentioning in the chat. So yeah, all that effort for putting just 1 atom on the output. So, what we can do is we put another atom there. and watch it do it again. And see what it does when it does 2 of them. When there's already an atom already there. Elephant mode? Yeah, probably. So yeah, it creates another atom. And what we can do again is this. We're verifying the solutions on also wait, I have been informed that this solution actually needs an extra period to run, so it needs an extra period to calcify the Earth over there. It was supposed to do that earlier, but you know, we started at a point where it wasn't able to do that. Yeah, and then it outputs. This week we are the bird sharpening its beak. Using MP for 0 is really great because you don't need to do any initialization. Yeah, it is. Alright, and that should be this solve. Right, next up, we have, at 3 orders of magnitude slower, we have Gecko. We have reached ternary counting of 25 bits. No.
Ran out of digits, just make the base bigger somehow.
Well, I mean, this makes the base bigger by using fire, including fire into the, yeah, including fire into the equation. What it does is that it differentiates between salt, fire, and non-salt, non-fire. Because non-salt, non-fire is unable to be touched by triplex and is unable to be duplicated on. And that's how it differentiates the case between the other ones. You don't need the quintessence glyph to do that. Oh yeah, Burlow is back.
Welcome to hell. Burlow is here.
Yeah. The reason we aren't seeing like a quint already is because you can discern more cases even without the quint. You can discern the case of not salt and not fire by using the method I just described. And if you look at the loop over there, there's also an empty bit just floating around. That's the terminating symbol. That means that we have reached the end and we need to check for the carry and also add a new bit in. Hi, welcome back, welcome Petracat. We're looking at the crazy solves in the top 10 right now. But yeah, I believe this verifies that all salt is 0, earth is 1, fire is 2. So it verifies upon all of them turning into fire, which I can do conveniently by oh, you were saying?
Also, no disposal. That's interesting.
Yeah, no disposal because, you know, it doesn't use empties as one of the actual values. Oh yeah, Gecko. Gecko is also really nice that output 6 of the products before us in initialization. No, I didn't use water. Oh, look by an explanation of yeah. The ternary of salt, fire, and third thing. So yeah, the initialization like puts in all the atoms and then it never does the initialization again. If you start with all fire, then it's going to process it as a complete carryover, and it's going to output the product. We can watch it do that. I'm going to speed it up so it does it faster. And we can slow it back down again when we want to see it actually output. Yeah, I can imagine it was a pain to like get the initialization to work. Alright, I can slow it down. We're reaching the end. Your solution was nice, Petra.
And it had a unique thought process that I really enjoyed.
Yeah. Has it outputted yet? Oh, it hasn't reached the terminating bit yet. Oh yeah, there we go. Terminating bit arrives, and we have an extra carry bit still around, so it outputs. That's what it does. Ternary counting. Alright. Next up, we're back down to binary, except just with more digits. Next up, we have John at same order of magnitude, but 4 times as slow. About 4 times as slow, or maybe closer to 3 times. At 2 to the 46. 1 over 2 to the 46. This one was submitted last minute. And there was an issue with it, so I had to tell John, yo, fix your solution. And he did it just in time, pretty much.
A factor of 4 is basically a primary tie at this point.
Yeah, pretty much. Only insert a number. So yeah, you can see it starting the binary counting over here on the top right of the left chamber. It's very close to the period of yours, yeah. Oh, it's 2 off.
So, digits. You can only fit so many digits in one chamber. You could just put digits in 2 chambers, but you would have to be insane to do that.
Yeah. Anyways, let me fill this shit up. If I remember where all the bits go. Yeah, like, I can also show you, like, how I check where the bits go next. Like, yeah, I just let it run, and it tells me where the next bit is supposed to go. And that's how I verified it when it came in. But I already know where they go, so I can just do that now. So yeah, this should be 46 bits. And it outputs. And what I also check is to see if it we've already seen this, but we've already seen me do this, but I also check if it works with a maximum Seems I didn't check it last time. That doesn't look right. Seems there is a collision still. If I put in the bits actually correctly, that is. Did I put in the bits correctly? Let me put this back in to make sure there aren't any extra bits. Yeah, maybe. No, it processes all of them. That would be a programming issue that it didn't catch in time. Oh well, it's probably not hard to fix. John could have made it in time. Yeah, just a timing issue with passing through the conduit. Yeah. So theoretically the solution could work, but it doesn't because of a collision right over there, but oh well. We're not good. So that means everybody technically moves up a placement. Yeah, people are discussing how to get higher numbers. So yeah, 46-bit counter. Unfortunately, I didn't catch this up before the start of the stream, but yeah.
It happens.
It happens. Alright then. Next up, we have, in 7th place, at 5 orders of magnitude, slower than the solution, we
A bit of a
have
drop.
Biggie. So, you know, 40-something bits is nice. How about 60? Biggie, you want to join? I'll let you in. There we
Yes,
go. Hi.
please. Hello.
You can join yourself. You're a moderator, right?
Yeah, I have the power. I could have just showed up at any time, but I didn't want to stomp on you.
Don't worry. You can come in. I don't mind. Alright, anyways. I'll let the solution run and you can talk about it. I don't have to do it at maximum speed right now first, but just let it fill up. You can talk about yourself while it happens.
This makes its output in the first tape loop because it's a LFSR instead of a counter. So it actually outputs on the all zeros state instead of the all ones state.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's 2 to the 60 minus 1. So a linear feedback shift register is a feedback system of bits that only requires one gate for the entire iteration. So there are 60 different places on this board where there are bits being stored, and every tape loop shifts the bit cycle around by 1, so that bit 1 goes to where bit 2 was, bit 2 goes to where bit 3 was, etc. But it replaces bit 1 by the XNOR of bits 59 and 60.
Let's
Now,
just say the
where on the board the actual bits live, I'm gonna post an Imgur album because the diagram of where the bits live is really fucked up. It's because I programmed a random permutation and then did swaps until it became a cycle, and the cycle looks like, I'll copy the image on its own and dump it in the events channel. Yeah, I had hex graph paper, and bits 1, 2 are in the right chamber, bit 3 is in the left chamber, 4, 5, 6, all the way up to, I think, 15 are in the right chamber again, and then it's a bunch of them in the left chamber again, and then it's a bunch more in the right chamber again. It's not a normal cycle, but it is a cycle.
If it works, it works.
Yeah, what I did was I took my I knew where the 60 tiles that I wanted to place bits were because I programmed all of the area optimizer stuff first, like getting a rejected output onto the disposal. And so I filled up all the rest of the space with scaffold salt atoms, and I put water on the other side of the duplicator. I reversed the duplicator, and I just duplicated water onto all of these scaffolding salts to verify that over the course of one tape loop, every single bit of my chain would be tested against that output. Now in the real solution, what it is doing, it is taking the water bits and duplicating them onto the candidate output instead of the other way around. So if any water is in the chamber, the output will be made of 2 water and 1 earth. But if no water are around, then the output will be made of 2 earth and 1 water, which is correct. So it does save a lot of computation instruction compared to counting. This has probably a lower instruction count and a lower period than other comparable 60 counters. But it's certainly still big and still awkward.
Yeah.
And right, there's conduit phasing going on at a lot of points so that I can swap water for other water without needing to shuffle it around.
Oh, yeah. Conduit phasing is very important when you have this amount of shit just laying around everywhere. Have we
also, the solution title is...
you go.
What?
You go first.
The solution title of valet parking refers to when you have your car, you give it to someone, and they cram it as tightly as possible into a garage because they're the driver now.
Mm-hmm.
So this is mostly going to be full of water for the first couple million cycles.
Have we talked about what LFSRs actually are, for those people the people who don't actually know?
Right, it's a feedback loop of bits, but it's usually used for a basic random number generator. So you'll have a string of bits, and you do an XNOR of certain bits in there to give you the new bit. But if you do it between the last pair of bits only, you get a really shitty random number generator because it's going to be a very predictable sequence that way. However, if you look it up online for the linear feedback shift register, there's a different concept of just getting the highest possible feedback period. And there are a few magic numbers where if you XNOR the last bits only, you have the maximal period possible for those bits, which is 1 less than 2 to the power of the number of bits. So 60 is one of those magic numbers. The previous magic number was 22. So I had earlier versions with 6 bits, 22 bits, and then finally 60 bits.
And the reason it's -1 is because the case of all ones is gonna get us stuck in the case of all ones forever.
Right, because XNOR of 1 with 1 is 1, so you end up with the whole string of ones turning into the whole string of ones. So the other loop is every other state besides that one.
Yeah, this also works
Anyway,
with
also-
XOR, except with all zeros. It's the same concept.
Yeah. I liked XNOR because the starting state of all zeros is the easiest one to initialize.
Yeah,
It's just
it
nothing
just-
is there.
Mm-hmm.
So I also wrote in my notes my thoughts when I encountered this puzzle chronologically, and I would like to read those out if that's okay.
Sure, go ahead.
Oh, it's a cabinet puzzle. Oh, it's like that stabilized water machine I built. By the way, 2 months ago I made an LFSR for stabilized water for a joke. Oh, we don't need a short period, we just need a tape loop that cycles through all the available state. That's going to be quite a long period, actually. Oh, we get disposal, and calcification and dupe. That makes things compact. I can fit a bit per tile. Oh, these chambers are way too big. This is terrifying. Okay, perfect is the enemy of good. This is the Weeklies. I don't feel pressure to try to be perfect. You cannot make me place Burlow. I'll accept that presence-absence bits are my limit. I won't do 8-way conditionals. I won't do bond presence conditionals. I want to just do the same LFSR approach that I did for stabilized water, but now in presence and absence bits. My primary will be of the form 1 over 2 to the n minus 1, where n is the number of bits. Checking for all zeros means I need to read every single bit on every single tape loop. That'll take a while, but we have duplication. XNOR can be done with a bonder and debonder, that's not bad at all. The magic numbers 6, 22, and 60. It doesn't have to be a magic number, but I want it to be. 22 worked, so now I have unlocked the super secret second web page for failure to verify. Alright, time to cram bits in at maximum density. I can use scaffolding mod for this. I can achieve any permutation using swaps, but I don't want to program the permutation. I want to program everything that isn't the permutation, but I have to program the goddamn permutation. Let's just make a solid effort, not caring where the atoms end up. Permutation programmed, in-game. That was painful, and I have no idea whether it was a 60 cycle, but I'll use scaffolding mod to track the atoms and where they end up after a tape loop. I'll record the result in my journal, repeat. Now I can input the data into Wolfram and ask for the cycle decomposition. Oh wow, it's almost perfect. I just need a swap. Adding a single conduit swap on cycle 1009 makes it a perfect length 60 cycle. It's not an orderly cycle, but it gets the job done. I have my LFSR, and I am done. Then in the Ender album, I also have a last image showing the layout that could be, which would do 113 possible. It's like basically a base 113 counter on 2-tile objects, but I did not program that because I don't want to.
Panic saying this is really the perfect chamber size because it allowed this length 60 machine to exist. Also, let me turn Bizbot back up. Yeah, Bizbot is online now. Alright, anyways. Well, speaking of 60 bits. Next up,
Oh no.
we have Team Hello Jasper and Sir GD at 3 times slower than this. About almost exactly 3 times slower than this.
Okay, I was afraid it would be exactly.
No, it's
1
not
over
1
2 to the
off. It's not
60.
1 off. That would be funny.
Because earlier in the Twitch chat, I did write, I expect Jasper to beat me by the slimmest margin. I was imagining 1 over 2 to the 60 versus 1 over 2 to the 60.
Yeah, that would have been funny, but they had an extra times 3 multiplier
So
because
funny.
one atom of the output. every
One
loop.
atom. That makes sense. All right, I'm
Yeah.
going to drop back from the stage. Thanks for having me.
All right, see ya.
Hey, bye.
Here we are, 60 bits, moving around. Look at him go. I believe has Hello Jasper sent me the Yeah, Hello Jasper has sent me the full diagram of where all the bits should go. Jasper, you should send that into the you should send that into the chat. And I guess not. I guess in Discord, that would be the most convenient. If you're actually, yeah, Hello Jasper should be here. In the meantime, I'm gonna pull those up in my DMs so I know where to place the bits. Oh wait, there's an imp grab in the notes. Alright.
Well, this many bits in a given location is a safer bet than not.
Here you go. Check out the imp grab to like know where all the bits are supposed to go. And while you do that, I will be following that as well. Just check out where all the bits are supposed to go. It's all Earth, right? I think it's all Earth. Yeah. Got some crazy solutions around these parts. Well, that's not what I wanted. Making sure everything is set up correctly. And also a water atom over here. And this place, I just basically fill up the whole board to make it to 60. Alright, you ready to see it all disappear? Let me actually open back up my notes and whatnot again. Alright, let's see it go. Oh wait, one moment. I forgot. It does initialization, so I have to stop it from doing the initialization. And all that effort for just one part of the output.
Filling your transmutation engine with dirt is optimal, apparently.
Yeah, apparently Earth is more popular than water for some reason. Yeah, and you know, now it's 2. Now, there's 2 of the intermediary product, and we add another one, and it's gonna do it. It's gonna do it again. And it outputs. And as a precaution, we also do the entire shuffling method, and remove bit 1, which happens to be this one. This one is bit 1. This shows off the entire machine shuffling everything around and trying to dodge every other atom next to it. There has been a few collisions around before Hello Jasper finally and Sergi D finally got it right, but they got it right. It's like this. It was the same issues that like what John had. Yeah, and now it's gonna output it properly. The bonder on the corner is just constantly running hot. I assume the debonder, you mean? Is it the bonder or debonder? Maybe the bonder on the bottom.
If for a bit it was the bonder.
Yeah. Alright. Well, this is similar to most of the other solutions. It's just bigger and grander. So I think we should be able to move on. Next up, we have in 4th place at 1 order of magnitude slower, we have you. Who are you? Who is you? Thank you for coming to my
This
TED
was
Talk.
This was a very late solution, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
And we have our first quintessence.
Mm-hmm. And if you look at the math to get to this solution, to get to this metric, we see that it's 27 times 5 to the 26 minus 5 to the 23rd. The you, your pronouns. It's not wrong. You, your are pronouns. Those are pronouns, alright? Who is you? Correct. You is who? Who is you? Albatross on the Discord, yeah. And quintessence has fire. So let me explain what this does. Because unless Albatross wants to come and explain their solution themselves. I don't see anyone mentioning in the chat that they want to join though. Let me check the Discord just in case. Alright, nothing. So yeah, I shall be doing the explaining of the solution for you because I took a long time trying to figure out how it works. So what it does, it starts with basically a random case of, it doesn't matter what you initialize with because no matter what you initialize it's gonna loop. But this isn't just a binary counter. I mean, it is just a counter. Well, I guess it is just a counter, but the output conditional is kinda special. I'll pretend to be you and bullshit an explanation. But yeah. It still does the normal counter thing. You can see the air atom going around and around, and you can see the terminating empty bit also running around the loop. So it does a lot of similar things to the previous ones, but the output conditional is what makes this interesting. How this outputs is I shall be pulling up another file. This one is also one I have prepared. So you can see that in this configuration, you doesn't have a microphone, so you won't be joining. Alright, so we can see in this case it's oh yeah, I should explain that water is 0, salt is 1, air is 2, fire is 3, earth is 4. So what this does is this is the case of 3, 3, 3, all threes up to 4. Yeah, no, all threes up to a 4, and make sure. No, all 4s, and a 3 and a 4. So what this does is if I let it run, like a few times, let it do all the carrying and processing. And it's taking an extra loop to do the carrying. Alright, it's doing it now. This is a story about you. Yeah, and it turns all to 0. And we see what comes through at the end. Over here is water, earth, earth. And water, earth, earth is the exact atoms needed. They have to be in this particular orientation for it to, and once it reaches, like, the output, that water, earth, earth is what gets outputted. Yeah, and there it goes. Yeah, and I don't have the input here because it's gonna mess with the scaffolding atoms. But what it should do is insert it with insert these blanks with water salt. So it skips a few. It skips a few numbers. That's where the -5 to the 24 comes from. How does the machine add one? It does it somewhere. There's an empty terminating bit over here. If it encounters the empty terminating bit, it adds a bit into it. It tries to output the 3 most significant digits. Yes, that's what it does. That's the basic explanation of it. So yeah, that's how this solution works. It's very interesting, the output method, and like the math that results from it. And yeah, I basically explained it, so I don't think I'll be reading the notes. So, moving on. Oh yeah, there are predictions though, I can read that. The predictions say, I predict there will be 4 submissions below 2 to the -32, and that there will be no primary ties. Well, we've already seen those primary ties. And this is, I don't know what other approach could be viable. Arm position and orientation has limited potential because you cannot conditionally move an arm. The best you can do is relatively prime track loops. Using the presence of bonds to store state would be monumentally annoying. Going up to base 8 is possible with quintessence, missing atoms, and either Vitae or Moores, but requires much more infrastructure to handle the incrementing process, including a disposal. I hope at least one person makes a submission that counts in binary salt fire using triplex bonding, which was my original plan before I decided to use quintessence. And well, moving on, we have at 3 orders of magnitude slower than this, we have Calliuresis. Oh, we don't need to solve anymore. Goodbye. So, base 5 counting. That's the gist of it. Yeah, regular bonding works because you can consider the empty case. You just have to know when to output. And when to output could either be you just carry all of them in a single period, or there's other methods that we see coming up. So yeah, this also uses a terminating bit for its for how it works. To check for yeah, a lot of other solutions just use empty for a terminating bit to know when to output, so they don't have to code out all of the 60 carrying for each period. Not 60, but this one does 30 of them. That's why it's 31 times 5 to the power of 30. Yeah, 30 quint bits with 1 gap and a 131p cycle. Calliuresis, not Calliuresis. Calli is, fortunately, I hope, not racist. But anyways, the bits that this goes through is 0 is air, fire is 1, water is 2, earth is 3, and salt is 4, terminated by an empty hex. So if I want to check it out, for the ones that do initialization for this are very hard to check, but like one thing I've done is just add a salt atom. It's gonna turn them all into salt eventually. Where did that actually come from? Where's the first bit? Just turn them all into salt. There? Alright. Wait. Oh, they're all coming through conduit 1, I think. I hope that's right. Callie is just full of an uncomfortable amount of potassium. And we'll let this run.
So I guess it's able to check for output by check. It decides whether or not it's salt by if the salt never gets unified in the glyph of unification, regardless of whatever the complement is.
Yeah, it does carry.
And
It's
then
gonna.
it uses that
It's basically a
information-
counter and just overflows.
It uses that information to output somehow.
If you keep on doing the carrying, eventually you're gonna end up with an extra bit, and that extra bit is the one that's gonna be used to do the outputting.
Oh, okay, I get it.
Yeah. And I'm just making it all salt because it's convenient, but this is not how the solution is supposed to look like. This is the extent I use to verify it, because there's not really that much of like verify. You don't need to like verify the shuffling like all the other solves, because you know it's already full. It's at its full capacity right now. It doesn't use empties as one of the cases. It works. Let's see what Callie thinks about potential improvements, though. He says, there is still a lot of inefficiently used space, which could be used to store more digits. I was able to make a 33 atom right chamber that works in steady state, but couldn't figure out how to initialize it. Fully optimized, I imagine there will be a lot of waste shuffling, with very few empty hexes while also dealing with conditionals. That sounds nightmarish. The atom and the reagent can also be made part of the counter. The bits can also be increased by 8 by using inert atoms, vitae or mores, quintessence, and empty space as symbols. This requires conditional disposal and input fooling, since the salt-like number will vary, which makes the update logic much more complicated. It would probably require updating all digits in the same tape loop, since we can't use an empty hex as a terminating symbol. But the increased entropy per hex should more than make up for that. One bonus to updating all digits in the same loop is that it potentially allows for an LFSR-like algorithm instead of direct incrementation. Although, to be honest, I don't know the math to find a non-binary LFSR. So yeah.
Non-binary LFSR seems like the sort of thing you find in a computer science journal that has been cited by 3 people and never used again.
Non-binary representation. I mean, this is already non-binary. This is base 5. Non-binary LFSR because LFSR is for girls. Alright. And moving on. We skip 4 orders of magnitude to Matter Monkey at 7 to the 31. I didn't increase the...
Yeah,
I didn't move on. Alright, there we go.
you keep finding more zeros after the decimal point under the couch.
7. Say hello to Quintessence. Well, I've already seen Quintessence, but... This one, surprisingly, still does not have a disposal.
Okay, so this one is cracked out. It uses a higher.
Oh wait, no,
max in its-
I am blind. Disposal is on the right. That makes more sense.
The previous
Whoopsie.
solvers were saying stuff like you could use more symbols in your counter by like adding quintessence and stuff, but I'm not doing that. This solve is doing that.
It does it all right. Has Matter Monkey ever given me all the bits? If not, I will check Matter Monkey's DMs. I forgot if they've actually given me all the bits of and where they're supposed to be placed. No, they did not. I have to figure out where they go myself. Alright, there's the next position. Eh. There was an image. Oh, right. Oh, wait, no, I remember now. One moment. Let's let Matter Monkey explain themselves.
Alright, so
Let's see if I can do this. Ah, shit. Screen capture doesn't work. The video is the proof that was provided in the notes. One moment, let me see if I can get it going. There we go. Actually, let me just do it over here. Add a display capture. Sure. Yeah. Alright, and move that down. Alright. We'll let Madmaster just explain the solution for me.
this video is supposed to be evidence that my pitch drop experiment submission does in fact work how I think it should. So this is the solution itself. This is the solution file that was
Matter
submitted.
Monkey. Maybe I did,
And
I
it
don't know.
begins with all of the relevant hexes being empty, so that the number is 0. So we would expect, after a single
Secret
table,
order,
that
ego.
the least significant digit, this one over here, would become a 1, represented by salt, and all others would remain empty. And indeed, that is what we see happening. Once the tape loop is over, it takes quite a while. There we go. And then, if we were to run the tape loop again, we would expect this salt to become a water, representing 2, and for all of the other digits to remain unchanged. And again, that is what we see. Now the machine will just keep doing this, incrementing a number by 1 every tape loop until it reaches 7 to the power of 31, at which point it will overflow back to 0 and an output will be produced. So there's some other cases that I'd like to show it handling using scaffolding glyphs, some of which are overlapped with other stuff. So this is intended to be a
That's a lot
relatively
of
generic random
colors.
looking number. This is mostly to demonstrate that no collisions occur even when the board is maximally clogged with atoms. So what we should expect here is that this air turns into a quintessence and all the rest remain unchanged. And it'll take a while, but that should be what ends up happening. The tape loop is unpleasantly long, but this is the only way.
Yeah, it's got 19,000 instructions. What is the tape loop?
7-way logic on like.
The tape loop is 16,000.
So anyway, on the next loop, these digits are both 6, so we should see them both turn into 0, that is empty, and this water will become an air. And that is indeed what we see, it's an earth now, and the rest of the digits should remain unchanged, which they do.
I think the reason that the default music feels different is because it's just faster. I'm playing this at 1.5 times speed. It is basically Nightcore.
Yep. Third demonstration.
Yeah, it's at
So
1.5.
in the vast majority of loops, only some of the first few digits will be changed, right? I mean, in most, only the first digit is changed. In some, the first two are, it's quite rare for more than that to be changed. But just to check that's working properly, we've got this, where it's a whole bunch of 6s, followed by a 2. And what we expect is for all of these 6s to roll over to 0, and this 2 should become a 3. So it should become Earth. We should end up with a bunch of empty spaces and an Earth.
By the way, we have
the way this
emotes.
machine works is that there's these 3 sort of catalyst atoms that help do the checking. And those atoms are only present if we are carrying a 1 from a previous place, essentially. If we ever don't carry a 1, those get thrown away, and then the rest of the digits will remain unchanged. But it did work. All of these are empty now, and this is an Earth, as expected. Finally, let's see it actually outputting. So this is very, very close to the end. It's only 2 loops off. So in the first loop, this air will become a quintessence. And now the integer we're storing is the absolute maximum it can be. And so on this loop, it will overflow back to 0, and we should produce an output. So the way the output conditional is handled is, if we are still carrying a 1 after we process the last place value, then we'll make an output. So the conditional is on the presence of these 3 catalyst atoms still being around after we do all 31 digits. Again, if we ever encounter something other than a 6, these catalyst atoms will be thrown away, so that all the rest of the digits will not be changed. We just zoom forward a bit. So we are currently processing the last atom. And so this is the part. Since we were adding 1 to that 6, we do end up carrying a 1. And as a result, these 3 catalyst atoms are still around even after we processed every digit. And this is what's going to give us our output conditional. So two of these get thrown away. And then the third one, we use to conditionally pull this input. And if that input gets pulled, then it gets turned into an output and produced. And then we're back at 0, and the whole thing will loop from the start again.
Alright. Thank you, Matter Monkey, for doing my job for me. That was really nice. I'm like a professor who doesn't feel like teaching today. And just played a video explaining the things. You get a VOD at you just click on my profile picture on Twitch, and then you go to videos, and it should be there. I hope. I think I have it turned on. Let me check myself, actually, and now I'm nervous. Yeah, they're there. They're running. Alright. Let's see. Damn, I have to actually be a host again. Can't let Matter Monkey take it over for me. Alright, next up we have, at 5 order of magnitudes slower than this, we have Sai looks away, crying at Septimal. Septimal, I think, is the limit on where we're going. Though this doesn't actually use all, this doesn't actually do all of the carrying in one period. It actually separates it out into several periods. That's what the 36 times 7 to the 36 is.
As we've seen in a lot of previous solves, if you can do the advancement of the binary counter itself in fractional p, that's less work for you, and also it makes your metric better.
Yeah, but this also uses an empty bit as the as one of the digits. The reason it's able to do that while also doing like one increment of the tape loop per one increment of the counter tape per period is that it also, you see on the left side over here, that's a counter. It counts from 0 to 35. And once it counts to 35, that's when it does the processing of the next bit.
So there are multiple counters in here. Wow.
Yeah. It works nicely because 35 is just 7 times 5. So once one of the bit reaches 5 is fire. Once we get one fire on the left, I think, for one of them. Yeah, once we get one fire here, that's when it puts in a bit over there. It counts to 35. 0 to 35. So every 36 every 36 loops of the tape loop, it creates an extra atom that puts it in the counter. Now what I need to do now is see if I remember where all the bits are supposed to go. I think it is mentioned in the notes. Every non-track hex in the right chamber. So let's do that. Fill it up. Oh, it's 6 times 6, not 7 times 5? Alright, yeah, that makes sense. I never actually, like, checked it, so, I just thought, you know, that makes sense, that's good enough. Is Quint distinguishable from salt by attempting to unify after duplication? Yeah, how is Quint distinguished? Now you've confused me.
Yeah, Sai confirms that's how it's done, so mystery solved.
Mm-hmm. Attempt to unify. Okay, yeah. Let's see, what are the last bits? On conduit 2. Alright, wait, the other thing needs to count to 6, it needs to count 6 times 6 as well, so let's just start with this. I assume that's correct? No? I don't know. What are the states I need to do on the left? Sai, help me. What are the atoms I need over here? 2 Quint. Oh, okay. It just starts at a lower number. But it doesn't, oh, it just doesn't use empty, I assume? This is by far the best you've ranked on a production puzzle. I mean, I don't think this is a standard production puzzle, to be fair. We're going through the bits, one by one. It skips water. Interesting. Alright. I haven't actually read most of these notes because I've seen your previous solution and I assumed it worked about the same way. A production puzzle for nerds. Yes, that is scientific notation in the metrics. Hello. We're in second place.
Yeah, we're all kind of nerds here.
We're all nerds on this blessed day.
I feel very non-nerd right now because I look at all this majesty and I'm just thinking, Adam sitting on the rim of disposal is funny.
Currently, we're just watching it do the outputting. Am I even? I should be on elephant mode, right? God, it's lagging. Yeah, I am on elephant mode. Also, that leaves Transcendental Guy and Spectralimina in first place. Spectra, you think you can join the VC? Cause swapping between Discord and actually reading, like doing the solution would be kind of difficult for me. If you're here. Oh, one person. Oh, Transcendental Guy is here. Alright. I'll let you in now. Hello. Your solution is up next. I'm just letting you join in at first.
Thanks.
It's gonna output. Has it outputted? Yeah, it's outputted. There we go. And like just in case to test maximal shuffling. I guess, you know, just by removing these we can test the maximal shuffling. It does fine. Yeah. It's all Transcendental Guy. You're just a debugger. I mean, it sounded like you did quite a bit with the trying to figure out the programming as well. But yeah, speaking of our last solution, the limit of what our submitters have come up with, we have at 11 order of magnitudes slower than this one. We have at Transcendental Guy and Spectralimina. Oh boy, one moment. Let me get me out of here. I need to turn on the frame rate mod because that is way too many instructions.
So this exceeds a few other predicted theoretical minima. This one's beyond words.
Alright, you want to explain yourself while I attempt to do whatever you asked me to do?
Okay, so I consider base 113 using bonds. I decided it would be too painful. I found the smart way to do base 7. So I plan my solution and I just put a bunch of digits on top of everything. I need to dig around in order to access digits. I need to dig around in order to access input, in order to do some computation. Also, I decided to use Burlow as a state. It rotates once per tape length, and it only adds +1 once every 6th time. Also, I believe it could be possible to get 2 extra digits, but it will be a pain because the digits will be around in the processor that adds +1.
Wait. What do I need to do? So if you let it run, like, one moment. This is the first bit. So I guess it just loops through the entire thing. Should we fill up the whole thing?
I think it's a good idea. I gave you install
Yeah.
with full oops, all quintessence.
Oops, all contestants. Let's go get the oops, all contestants. Also, remind me to press F6, y'all, or the stream, or the Discord is gonna crash. Not Discord, Opus Magnum's gonna crash. Let me see. Oops, all contestants. Let me download that. Here we go. Oh, that lagged. So this is, yeah, this is the board in its full state. Just look at all the quintessence atoms in all their glory.
Digging around in the pile of rare quintessence looking for something useful.
Mm. It's slowly processing all the quintessence atoms. The smart way basically means no dispersion. Endgame 2.0. This is less like Endgame and more like, what was it? Metal Calculus Area, because that was the thing that happened. We have people programming 39,000 instructions.
I wonder if this puzzle is eventually going to be as infamous as Metal Calculus, because I wasn't around at the time of Metal Calculus and I only hear about it as like an example of what not to do.
Oh, in my notes, I also had like 4 different means to, of possible solves that could be.
You want to read the notes yourself, or do you want me to read it for you?
You can read it. Read
Alright.
it.
Yeah, as Transcendental Guy has written in his notes, as I commented in the chat, I have 4 minimums. Practical minimum, what I could implement, was 7 to the negative 51. I believe my soft could have some extra digits, but it would take too much time re-implementing it. Practical theory min, what I could describe on how to implement, is 8 to the negative 51. We can add another digit, vitae, but to differentiate it from quintessence we need anime and dispersion. We can't lose more than 3 digits for it to be worth, so we would have to store digits on top of them, and some digits may need to be of a different base. So, never quintessence or salt, so we don't actually activate the glyphs. Theory practical min, what I can imagine someone implementing is 8 times 8 plus 7 times 7 to the 25th, to the negative 25th power. So, that's e negative 52. Merge 2 digits and now store the fact that if they have a bond between them. Theory min, what I can't rule out, is 1 over 31 times 17 times 13 times 6 times 2 times 2 times 8 to the 65th times 2 to 155, which is e negative 111. My best at limiting the number of states the machine can be at the start of the loop. The true minimum is probably way lower because most of these states are impossible to output once you get them because everything you do will generate a crash. Yeah. Anyways, this solution is nuts. We've already seen the output, yeah. And Spectra Limiter has some extra solutions that illustrates the process that this has been done. Like, I can download them and put them in.
Yeah, she helped a lot. I wouldn't be able to finish it without her.
Let me just load them in.
Debugging is hard work.
Alright, and I will be reading off of Spectraliminal's notes. Let's see. In my DMs. Alright, first off, we have oh, there's an extra oops all quintessence. Snack start. The purpose is to extract the... Can I run these at slower speeds? Snack start. The purpose is to extract a fire from Burlow if it's correctly rotated and put that in the carry bit. Rotating Burlow... oh, she can speak? Alright. Yeah, you can join and do it yourself. You should be able to join now. Hello.
There we go. Yeah, so these ones I set up so you can run them at slower speeds. This one just shows the process of trying to pull an atom off the Burlow. I think if memory serves, this one starts with it incorrect. So this will dispose, but now it will loop. It won't loop properly. So now if run it again with the Burlow 1 counterclockwise. So like stop it and then rotate Burlow left by 1. Yeah, there.
Yeah, the stream delay. I already done it after you said it.
So now... oh, right. Okay, sorry about that.
Oh, no, it's fine.
Yeah, so this one will get a...
Actually, you need me to stream on Discord? That might be
will
easier.
notice that there's a fire on the... Oh, that's fine. On the Burlow, and so it will turn that into a quintessence, which is used to... used to grab the water and make a salt. And that salt is the carry bit into the first iteration of the adder. So you can grab the adder, solve if you like.
It'll probably be easier if you watch a Discord stream, so there's no delay for the people on the stream.
Swap to that. Yeah. Okay. So then, if you swap to the adder solution, so after the initialization where we do Burlow, we run this adder, and it's going to check. We've got that water is the current input glyph. The salt below it is the carry, and the rest is all just memory. This also shows off where all our memory registers are. And now we're going to test this glyph to check whether it's any particular element. We're going to use conditional unification. And by we, I mostly mean Transcendental Guy. I only helped with the debugging. All the coding was Transcendental Guy. We're going to test each of the combinations to see if we can figure out which element it is. And eventually, we will put the next element on the output space, which is the bottom left space of the unification glyph. As well, if the input were quintessence, then we would get a salt out on the carry, which indicates to carry into the next iteration. So here we put in water, which is I think a 5. No, I think water is a 4, which turns into earth, which is a 5. I don't recall exactly.
Water is 3, earth is 4, salt is 5.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
And then the next one is the swap. So after each iteration of the tape has 49 copies of the adder. SNEC 31.
All right.
So this is one of the... I used a script to generate many variations of this that run each of the swap code. And so here we're trying to put the fire where the quintessence used to be, put the Moors where the fire used to be, and then the quintessence is the next bit that's fed into the adder. And it crashes because this is only like one segment. But so I split out the solution into all of these segments and tested them individually using this pattern where the fire and the quintessence and the Moors let us see, like, okay, we're trying to swap this atom with this atom, make sure that it works correctly and doesn't collide with anything. And then the last one, which I haven't split out the output logic into a separate one. But it works the same way as we saw in the previous solve, where once all the quintessence is done, the very, very last step at the end of this 39,000 instruction tape is it will conditionally check if there's a carry bit that we got from adding carrying like digits all the way through all the quintessence. And if there is, then we'll do an output.
Yeah.
And we don't have to worry about the output crashing on something, because everything is 0, so everything
Yeah.
is 0 items.
That's the good thing about a counter. Once you output everything, you got all the space you want. Alright. And that is the end. That is the end of the scoring solves. Thank you for joining us in the VC to explain your solution, because I sure wouldn't be
Yeah, no
able to do
problem.
it as well. And with this, we can move on to the showcase. Let me turn this off because I don't want to accidentally crash the game. Alright, let me load in the showcase solves. We're almost done. We're in the home stretch now. Oh yeah! Yeah. Before the showcase, we should probably review next week's puzzle. Let me go get that ready. Move Discord here so I can read Twitch chat while this is all happening. Drum roll. One moment, I have to actually download it. I don't have it downloaded so I don't accidentally review it on stream. Alright. Here we have palatable tissues. It's a polymer puzzle with 2 inputs. Oh yeah, I have multiple inputs on. Multiple inputs and outputs on, and the metrics of this puzzle are instructions other than grab, drop, and track movement, rate, cost, and then instructions other than grab, drop, and track movement, cost cycles. So, basically, track movement only, rate RG, and track movement only, GC. And let me make it public. It should be live now. This is the next week, and it's brought to you by Jamu. It's edible tissues. Enjoy your tissues, y'all. Let's hope nobody actually is making any tissue bets this week. Let's see. Available parts are just your normal parts and animismus, duplication, calcification, bonder, debonders, disposal. Yeah. So no swinging or pivoting. But yeah, that's what we've got next week. I don't know if any of you are actually speed solving this now. That will be interesting. But in the meantime, we shall be moving on to our showcase solves, which I'm gonna have to find those and open it. All right. I can delete these now, right? Oh! That crashed the game for some reason. Probably because it was a solution that didn't exist anymore because I closed the AHK. Whoop. Shouldn't have opened that. Shouldn't have opened that. Get me out of here. Get me out of here. There we go. Alright. Clean this all up so that it's easier for me. Right. So first of all, we have a B-solve. Bestagon, or otherwise known as Bounding Hexagon. I think this is Min Cycles? What is Min Cycles anyways? No, Min Cycles is 15. Oh, thanks for the subscription. Damn, okay. it is indeed edible Kleenex. Yeah. So this is our B-Solve by Maraconta. Let me see if she has any notes. No, she does not. Alright. Moving on then, we have RP. An RP solve from No Longer Breathed In. Or is it? I don't know. RP or not RP. .D. Yeah, Biggie finished this. Biggie finished already. And we also have there's a solve called Trackless Slow Rolling. I wonder what it is. I'm just gonna click on all of them. Ah, it's doing the metric without tracks. Yeah, I don't know how this scores exactly, but it sure is doing it. What else do we have? We have a cost solve. That's not a cost solve. Well, I mean, it is a cost solve, but that's not minimum cost. Wasn't the first counter also trackless? Maybe. Actual min cost stinky. Yeah, actual min cost is when you ignore the calcifier and just use that's all you need. I mean, obviously you probably need track as well, but bond debond with waste. Yeah. You save 10 gold. But in the meantime, we got this. G at infinity. True. Yeah, if you put track, you might as well use the calcifier. But why would you use the calcifier if you're not able to use disposal? Not disposal, duplication. There's also a solve by Alex called All the Glyphs. That sure is all the glyphs. Amazing. Now this is a proper shitpost solve. It actually uses all of them too. I guess this is more of an aesthetic solve. Well, I mean, it doesn't use the metals, of course, but it doesn't use the metal glyphs, because, well, I mean, you don't have the metals to use the metal glyphs. And then we have all the cycle solves. I'ma check them out and try to present them in order of the cost because the showcases are not in order at all. Where is the multi-bonder? Damn, there is no multi-bonder. There's also 2 disposals. Alright. For the cost solves, we'll be... not the cost solves, the cycle solves, we will be going by cost. And first of all, we have at 230 cost by Mr. Posel. I think this is... I don't know who's submitting this. It's Min Cycles. And we have slightly cheaper than this at 220 gold. We have Spectria's CI. Not even competing on the same secondary, but it gets it done. Yeah. And at 200 cost, we have Morakonda going for CG. And last but not least, we have Spiritual Shampoo at 190 cost. And at 15 cycles and 190 cost. So yeah, that would be all the showcase solves. It loops. And with that, we are done. Thank you everyone for joining me on the stream. It's been a wild ride. How long have we been at this? We've almost 4 hours now, damn. But yeah, next week your host will be the lovely Zorflax, so probably strap in for an even longer stream. But yeah, thank you all for coming, and we'll see you all next week with Zorflax stream. Next week is Zorflax, and the next week is Haxton. Gonna be Haxton's first stream. But yeah, thank you all for coming, and we'll be seeing y'all next week. Bye.
Bye.